bit different. It has evolved.
I think
Yeah, we've seen this as well with the whole question around Tinker where Falcons are concerned.
yeah, it's just a
Taken out this time.
very good bans though from Falcons. I think the only debate you might entertain is, do you want to respect Keep Light or Tiny? But so far, when I see these four, it's like, you know what? They're perfectly stable. They do the job, and
Tiny on one side, Ancient, by the way, left in the pool. But Liquid picked the Tiny, never mind. Seeing that they picked the Tiny, they do have that option as well later on.
I feel like the AA ban is one of those bans that it is very good in the game, 100%. Being able to prevent healing on a hero is conceptually just, broken to some degree. It amps up heroes' Vortex. But if you pick, Tiny, you see the hero for a millisecond, you're going to be able to delete that hero. Avalanche toss, you get deleted. So I think Liquid taking the first pick on Tiny does somewhat force Falcons away from wanting the AA instantly, especially if it's a mid-Tiny.
Well, in the last couple of series that they played, Falcons completely disregarded Insania's heroes. Like, they did not respect them during the banning stage. Maybe that's something to look for, because the last series, at least, double AA, double loss for Falcons might be a problem. The hero does make the game a lot easier to play.
I mean, now Falcons, they'll open the pick in the next phase of the draft as well. So if they really respect the hero, they can just pick it themselves. And now you've got Sand King plus AA, you have explosive damage in the early game, simple stun into Ice Plus.
The way I see that hero is, like, no matter what other four heroes you have, AA gives you enough damage to get kills, to make things done. Like, the moment you hit 6 on AA, the map is your playground. Sometimes you have these two supports, like we had yesterday, Silencer and Tinker. They don't have that oomph. There's no... Okay, you have a global silence, but it doesn't allow you to move on the map and get kills. AA, on his own already, he needs just another hero, and usually it can be whatever.
I mean, that's the main point. It's making a move on the map. You reduce the amount of heroes you need to make the move, right? So in other lineups, you need 3 heroes minimum. With an AA lineup, it's AA plus stun. That's it. That's your ganking squad. So 3 other heroes can farm jungle, can push waves, can do any objective they want as the AA plus 1 is doing it. So we'll see again if Falcons want to go there. So far it has been somewhat ignored, but yeah, both teams potentially in the next phase, they'll happily take a late pick. I mean, even Ringmaster's still available.
Yeah, there's a
lot
lot
of the fives.
When we heard Crit in the interview talking about how much he likes the Ringmaster and thinks it's really strong.
It's good here. Yeah, why not?
Prioritize that.
We have seen the Jakiro in the last game and in a lot of games today already. It was simultaneously played on our stream and on Stream B, I believe.
Yes.
And with the Sand King being there, I feel like it's a good combo to take away from them. So they do ban it out. Falcons also did play Jakiro against Liquid in the last series.
They really are taking a long time to decide this ban. They banned Brewmaster, a hero that has risen in popularity for this event.
The Renaissance.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we talked about the Frozen Boy, the fridge, for so long. It would be kind of anticlimactic if it wasn't picked at all.
Sometimes we just get it right.
And so Jakiro is out, AA is in. When it comes to other position 5s and 4s, like you mentioned, the Ringmaster that's in.
Yeah, you take it. Get magic resistance whilst you're inside the box. You're going to have to eat
Silencer as well, an option, right?
Yeah, plenty of options. I mean, again, they've been respecting a lot more of the core heroes with the bans, at least from both teams.
Are these two enough to prevent any sort of a zoo to come out from Saberlight? Or maybe even a Night Stalker resurgence? Like, we aren't seeing Night Stalker at all recently.
Well, again, Liquid will be closing out the draft here, or this phase with the pick. So I think if Liquid just pick up another support, keep the kind of draft a little bit more open, then for sure, there could be some world where an Enigma or any lane pressuring hero can come into play. Like Ancient Apparition doesn't really like playing into zoo heroes in the offlane because you just don't protect your tower too well. You kind of want to play kind of like a slower lane where you can poke them with Chilling Touch, bully the hero, play on your small camp.
Is Ringmaster like an Insania hero? I feel like he'd rather play it on Liquid. Like out of the two, and maybe a Hoodwink position 4 or something like that with some extra burst plus Tiny.
Yeah, I think so far in the last couple of games I checked, Boxy's been playing it, but yeah,
Okay,
they easily both can play it.
Yeah. Do you have a preference? I feel like it is a better 4 at the moment.
I think
But can be played
specific.
both, yeah.
And they are pondering. Truly pondering.
A lot of options still in the pool.
If they want to really copy a draft they did before, it would be the Phoenix pick here. This would be identical to the draft they did 9 days ago against Avilus.
And I actually love that pick.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You get Ice Blasted as a support, who cares? You just press egg.
Same goes for the Sand King.
But they go for the
They go
Silence.
for okay. I mean, these are at the moment. You don't really have to go too far away from these three heroes: Jakiro, Ancient Apparition, and Silencer. There's a Warlock as well, but not in perhaps in this situation.
Great win rate, by the way, guys. 16%.
I was going to say, I haven't seen a lot of Warlock.
No, sorry. Warlock, no, but the Silencer, that was the win rate.
But yeah, the Silencer has been, I don't know, there's been some dubious picks, I think.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Dubious pairings,
Yeah.
let's say. In the ball.
Keep in mind that we are only in day 2 of the tournament, and stats, they don't truly paint the best picture at the moment. It's all pixelated.
You're saying
You don't really
because
know
there's
what's
still
behind.
weak teams in the tournament that are ruining the stats of the better. Is that what you're saying, Lizard?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Richard Lewis.
Well, if he was,
I think I can speak on his behalf.
Yeah, I read that.
if it
the
was
host.
equally played by the weak teams and the strong teams, then it wouldn't matter. But unfortunately, he has been losing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a hero that is just understood, I think, right? It's play around the global. If it's up, then respect it, try and bait it out, look for that kind of initiation of a fight, but then you kind of reset, kind of punish the player for using it incorrectly, then you swarm your opponent. And for Falcons, like both teams here, they have just a beautiful amount of poking fight here. Tiny can jump in, he can then re-engage the fight. Sand King as well, AA, like they like taking multiple fights. It's not just we're locked into when we start the engagement, that engagement it ends, we can have to run away. Like they can just keep poking and keep prodding their opponent. So both teams are really going to be locking into a lot of fights, it feels like.
What's really nice about Falcons as well is, I was just going to say that it might be a flex on the TB, but I don't really think that fits the Falcons playstyle. Sand King, sure, but
Although, I mean, you know, we've seen them all pull out some, you know, crazy heroes in the offlane. I think last July it was the Ember, right?
Yeah, he's dabbling, but for Falcons, they are just pretty much telling Liquid, like, you know what? You're going to look for a pick-off, but try looking for a pick-off when illusions are scouting the map. You've got a bounty invisible who's tracking the Silencer or the Ringmaster and instantly knowing your position. And sure, you got the global, but yeah, I think Falcons are drafting really nicely to punish what Liquid has, and they need to find a way to see through that. And
what's
a
cool?
carry pick that can punish a bounty is difficult because Silencer can't do that.
Yeah, the only question is like, if the Sand King is your offlane, Sand King plus Bounty does not strike me as the strongest offlanes, especially into the Silencer. So you need to find a way to play around that, maybe some creep skips and whatnot.
I think they're keeping it open within the draft, right? They have last pick, so I think Sand King right now is the offlane or mid, and then Terrorblade's the carry, and then depending on where Liquid goes, they'll decide what's happening.
But another thing that Bounty is bringing to the table, by the way, is the pace, right? Like the way you play the game is, you do have kind of a long cooldown on TB, but TB is still a pace setter. Like he constantly plays the map. You cannot go AFK with the Zero any longer. Back in the day, TB was the end-all carry. Right now, the way he's played is he's tempo. He constantly plays the map, constantly pushes in, and with a Bounty Hunter and AA, you can hunt for those kills, specifically when the global, especially when the global silence is off. But even when it's up, you can bait it out easily, right? Like you can poke and prod. So, yeah, I like it quite a lot.
10 seconds remaining.
Huskar is still left in the pool, by the way. Keep that in mind. If you're Liquid, probably...
Oh, it's getting banned out, yeah.
I actually, never mind. I lied. It's banned out in the first stage, by the way. My bad. They banned out the Monkey King as well. Another good counter to the Ember on the mid lane.
I mean, Liquid have really put everything into the Ember is going to do a lot for us, right? Because, sure, Bounty AA, not the best stuns. Early Mage Slayer to annoy Sand King. But if the tempo of Ember ever falls, then the problems that we mentioned about killing heroes can come into play for Liquid. It's somewhat similar to the game we just witnessed, right? Where it's like, if Tiny doesn't get the jump and a pick-off, your team fight falls apart. And it's going to stay true here, right? Once you enter kind of the mid-game, it really is, how can Ember exploit a hero, make them waste their spells, and then Tiny from the carry role to come swooping in and get the kill under the cover of Global as well. They need to make sure that during Global, they're getting the kills.
What's the offlane for Saberlight here, by the way? Like that's the next pick that we're waiting for. They will ban out another mid that they find decent against Ember.
Tide or Underlord come to mind for me at least, because
Tide, Underlord, yeah.
either I blink stun and haha we take fight, or I just bring a lot of auras and I can cushion the
Darkseer is,
damage.
Banned out. That's what I wanted to say.
Keep talking about these first phase bans, but yeah.
Yeah. Another one that is kind of not that bad to me. It doesn't fit nearly the same role though. Is the Night Stalker, right? The hero that fell off completely. But this one as well.
Here he is.
Same color code, not necessarily the same playstyle.
But it does go back to the point about what does A struggle in laning phase against, and it was Zoo. And I think Enigmas can easily go for Drum. You can buy Aura if you want to enable your team that way, but expect a lot of pressure coming in the early game. Ember opening up the game with Corrosion and Mage Slayer, Enigma trying to take towers. It's very skirmishy, very aggressive, and very tempo-based for Liquid.
I have to say, for the other side as well, like on one side you do have this Enigma that isn't necessarily centered around the Black Hole, but you have a really crazy team fight as well. Global Silence plus Black Hole is good luck resetting when those two are up, but
there you go. That is an S tier entrance. That was good. I love the flames. But yeah, we've got the Doom, which...
Yeah, I mean, I think the main problem for Falcons with their draft is it looks good on paper when you think about the fight with everyone having items, but how do they really defend a tower early on? Like when Enigma with the cover of the supports and Ember slighting you from your backline, even maybe Tiny joining in, you don't have that natural hero that goes, look at this wave, I'm quickly deleting it. It's a TB has to right-click it.
All in Liquid, this guy, look at that smile.
That's a big smile.
That's all in Liquid right there.
Like, this feels exactly how Liquid likes to play Dota against Falcons. It's aggressive, it's good lanes, it's break the map, don't allow the greed to come online. And sure, against other teams with this lineup, Falcons probably will get gold on all their heroes. But I'm a little hesitant. I don't know if they have the tools to survive.
Well,
I do like the tools that they do have, though, and I'm not thinking about surviving. I'm thinking about killing people, because you have Ancient plus Sand King, the best hero to counteract on the aggression. So I do think that they've got what it takes, like to take a fight to Team Liquid.
There's two things. How quickly can Amar get to his BKB? Just greed up and become like unkillable. And then Maureen, Ember versus Sand King. Maybe there's a different build on Sand King to try and punish the Ember, delay the timing of Nisha to get online. An early Blink Dagger, you kill Saberlight who's trying to come to a tier 1 tower, bam, you kill him instantly, and now that tempo we expect can fall apart. So a lot of pressure on Maureen to maybe outplay Nisha to bring life to the game, because I think Sand King is the key hero for
Absolutely.
Falcons.
well, I'll ask what our commentators think. We're going to put them up on the big screen. There they are. It's Bellhop and Le Concierge. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. How are you doing, Lucas?
I'm doing good. I think this one, Team Liquid, I think they outdrafted them, and I think Team Liquid is the best team in the world to utilize Tiny, so going to be very excited to see how they're going to play against it, because just a month ago, they were the ones dominating the whole tournament. Season 3 Wallachia with Tiny, every single time they played it, I think they won. They had like 90% win rate on the hero.
You agree with that, Big Cup? You think Dom's onto something?
Whatever Lucas says, I always agree with. I've been taught
Got
well.
my back.
Yeah.
All right,
Hello,
then,
guys.
Well,
Hello,
looks like we're about to get ready into the action, so I'll let you prepare for the cast. Break a leg, several limbs. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Oh, don't die on me now,
Guys.
Lucas. Breaking some
No,
legs
don't
over
make me
there,
worry.
but we
Don't
got
try
a
to
series
intimidate
to
me.
cast. And it's
即係
Liquid
啲白羽音
Falcons
咧，
for
數
the
到
18th
這
time.
個佢話 Marine 聖經
It's
咧
teams that know
ADF
each other
重要㗎，
like the back of their hand.
咪幾陣嚟㗎？咁啊
Well, at least they think they do.
呢度咪就係咁啊
Yeah, they do. They really do. This is these two teams have met so many times. In 2025, last time they met, it was when
Hello,
Liquid
hello,
met them in
Jamile.
the upper bracket and then knocked them down, and then Falcons got knocked out of the tournament, and Team Liquid did end up winning that tournament. Dream League Season 25, Falcons were victorious and at the Fisher Playground as well, but yeah, in 2024 they met so many times. It was in favor of Falcons, but yeah, these two teams, they know each other very well, and there's going to be a quick reconnect. Maureen is ready to go. This Doom pick is not what I expected Falcons to go with. It doesn't strike me as wow, this Doom game, this is it. It's countering, you know, Life Stealer or anything like that. It's good against Enigma, so you have something, but Enigma, a lot of the times you see this hero, especially recently, not even opting to go for a BKB as his first item. It's more about the auras, pick up those drums, bongo boots as well, tank up, get some pipe online, because there's a lot of magic damage from Bounty, Sanking, Ancient Apparition, and if he gets those two big items online quickly, I feel like Team Liquid could really snowball out of control.
Right. And what's the deal these days with throwing off-lane heroes mid? We're seeing this more and more. The trend is becoming very popular. Now you've got a Sand King mid, something we used to kind of see like a year or two ago. But what's the deal? Why are we seeing so many off-lane heroes willing to make that move over mid?
In Sand King's case, this hero doesn't really have that good laning stage. Every single time we watch him from the off lane, he loses the lane. You saw in the previous game where Sand King was jungling starting at minute 3 pretty much. So in the mid lane, you don't get that treatment. You're getting all of your spells relatively early on. Your matchups are much better, and you're getting the levels, exactly what you need. And to go back to the Doom, you're also going to be playing into Tiny. I don't know who's going to be the Doom target here, most likely Ember Spirit. Tiny's not the perfect target, considering that he's playing with Insurmountable, so he's getting all that status resistance. He's also going to be building into S and Y, so the Doom is not going to be lasting as long. And yeah, I kind of like the team fight. Team fight from Team Liquid is definitely much, much better. You have Silencer, you have Enigma, you have ways to set things up, Wheel of Wonder as well. Every single hero has some kind of a stun, some kind of a lockdown, which makes the game easy to play.
We'll see how easy it feels and how easy it ends up being for these teams, and we'll end up getting that first blood. Got this sentry down and ready for Malrine, and I'm interested to see what Skitter does with this TB early on, because did end up taking that Metamorphosis level 1. Sometimes we see it, we see Reflection level 1, but it doesn't look like they're going to get any kills out of this. Obviously, here to just kind of secure some farm. That's what you can do with Metamorphosis as well early on. But is this kill really or is this lane really a killer lane for either side?
It definitely is for Liquid. They're not going to be winning this lane. Ancient Apparition, Terrorblade, it's a super weak lane. You have no ways of setting things up. It's a lot of harassment. Something that AA doesn't like to play into is any kind of Zoo, any kind of summon hero. This is where he really struggles. And you're also playing against Ringmaster. So the trade, if you get hit by that Impalement Arts, Malefice, you're definitely dead.
Could be very dangerous to deal with. And we've seen some teams kind of move Ancient Apparition to the 4 for a little bit more priority there. What do you think during the draft or in this lineup was the reasoning that AA is not going to that 4? We saw guys like Planet really love that 4 Ancient Apparition.
I think the hero shines the most out of 5. It doesn't really scale that much with items compared to some other position 4s. Sure, you can get Gleipnir. You can still get that from position 5. We saw Snaking yesterday when he was playing Muerta that he does get priority. And you also have Bounty Hunter on the team, so extra gold will be kicking in if you're going to be involved in those kills.
Does have to get that level 6 for that track to start kicking in.
Yeah, I was also checking the numbers on Falcon specifically in the last couple of tournaments. And this is the team, like Crit, in all of those, did have the lowest amount of farm. Because Amar takes a lot of farm as a position 3, and so does Snaking. He's playing some of these position 5s that take a lot of farm. Yesterday when he was playing Muerta, he was also the one that utilized that farm pretty heavily. He had the highest damage on the team when he was playing Muerta. But this is also classic Falcons. I think they are the ones that I would say not invented, but they reinvented the strat with the gold. So you have Doom with the Devour, with Hand of Midas, with Track, with Stacks. Tundra they were also the ones who were doing that, creating gold out of nothing. And this is something that definitely can be exploited. There's something to it where you're just getting that extra bit of gold, turning that into items and keeping the pressure onto the enemy team. Game did slow down a little bit. I thought there's going to be slightly more pressure on the side lanes, especially on the bottom lane from Liquid. Tiny, not the easiest hero to kill. He has 1000 HP at level 2.
Yeah, a lot of health in these early levels for Tiny. Some decent damage done to Amar. I'm not surprised with the pace of the game after yesterday's Falcons series. It feels like this team is very methodical and maybe tortoise-like when it comes to their gameplay. But
Why not turtle-like?
I just wanted to say tortoise. But
တက်လာနှစ်လာ
tortoise
တက်
is a
လာရွေးရအောင်တက်လင်းနေပါ
Every tortoise is a turtle, but not every turtle is a tortoise.
ဝကြီးပဲကောင်းဖြစ်နေ
I think. I'm not a zoologist. But
You
ဘယ်
said
ကောင်
that
ဘ
with
က
confidence.
လောတာလောနေတာ
But then you start asking questions.
ဒီဘက်မှာဟိုတက်
Because I don't know the difference.
Yeah, but then you look at me for answers, and you've known this. I'll say the first time, like, real confidently. Second, you start, like,
I know the difference between crocodile and alligator.
which is?
ဒီရှာ MI ထားရုံ
One you see in a while, the other one you see later.
မိကြီးတိုင်နေတဲ့သဘောကြဒီကဆိုင်ရန်စာကြီးကိုသဘောရမ်းကြတယ်ဘုံလို့ပြေးတယ်ဘယ်ဆိုင်ရန်နေညာအောင်ဒီအမ black hole
Back
နဲ့
to the bottom lane.
The whole
Still
pool
0
was
damage onto the tower. Ice Vortex is not doing that much to Eidolons because they do have high magic resistance.
Yeah.
A little surprised that he's not putting in some pressure. The damage is going to be there. This tower is definitely going to fall. They bring in Ember Spirit. They get a kill. There's really no control. I think Mulreen is going to need to mimic the moves that Nisha's going to be doing from this mid lane.
အော်ဒီပိတ်ကုန်ပြီ
Also, under tower takes some damage, though, Maureen. Nisha, we'll see when he's
Yeah,
ready to
Darakushi,
move, where
ADF
he
and
goes, and if it
performance
is ending up bottom, if maybe there's a rotation coming out from, say, the Bounty, who's already
Oh,
bottom,
Machado.
trying to get a kill here on a
ဘ
Boxy.
က်
But
က
the
ဆွဲ
first
လာ
one
ရ
goes
တယ်
to
ဆ
save
န်းနေ
her
ရောက်
blood.
လာတယ် Arcane Cast ပြန်တင်
And
လာတယ်
Boxy,
Boxy
he
မသိဘူး
really does die.
for long.
Yeah, the Vortex is there, but they get Skeeter, and Saberlight's got a double kill. They want
Lemon
Stay
Nisha
King.
show,
Nisha's also dead. Epicenter used over mid. So it ends up being a 2 for 2. I'm a little surprised at the solo kill there from Malrine.
Mulreen, he was level 6 and pretty much killed him from 100 to 0. Did keep him low. He did keep him low for some time.
လက်ကွဝင်တာကွာ guys
TB finishing off his power treads.
လက်ကွဝင်တာတင်ဝင်
Crit, the lane was in a good spot. I can't really blame him.
Yeah.
There was Doom farming underneath the tower, so he saw this opportunity. Goes to the bottom lane, tries to make a move, but damage from Ringmaster at some of these early levels, it's way too much.
The Impalement Arts can be tough to deal
လက်
with.
ကွဝင်တာ guys လက်ကွ
Crit's
ဝင်
got
တာ
an eye on Boxy, but they see Crit for the moment. Can't really make a move just yet, and you've got Skeeter who's gotten back to the jungle. This tier 1 tower very vulnerable. They've left the Enigma by themselves. I like this. You get to that level 6, you get these items online a little bit quicker, especially these drums. You're talking about the bongo boots that you want to see.
ငါကြိုက်တယ်လေဂိမ်းတန်ရမ်းကျင်နေဟုတ်ကဲ့ကို
Having the lane way open like this feels
ဘာရွေးနေရလဲကျွန်တော်
very
တတိမထားမိတာ
for Saber.
liquid နိုင်ကြတယ်ဗျာ liquid ဝင်တာ
I want to
liquid
see a
ဝင်တာ
rotation to the bottom lane after they pick up the XP rune. They were also afraid that maybe
So, liquid when I
Bounty's
read
gonna
it down
pick
in
it
the
up.
video.
It's one of the best heroes.
But
Now
I'm saying
they're
EDF
running
performance
3
down,
heroes just in case they're
Maybe
there on
not.
time. Foxy and then
မရင်းတယောက်လည်းတာရတယ်
We'll
ပြီး
get
skidder
that
ရဲ့
XP
terror
rune.
blade KB ကိုမ
And
ကြိုက်
so
ဘူး
crit on the other
ကျန်တဲ့
side. So yeah, I want to see the pressure. I
Fake
want
on my
to see
pit, I
heroes
leave
move
on
to
check it.
Saberlight's lane.
That would be a
Unfortunately,
team
he's
as
still
well.
not level 6.
liquid မှာကတိုင်း
Ideally,
လေး
you
ကိုသ
would
ဘောကျ
want to
တ
be
ယ်
level 6.
ဒီ global sign နဲ့ black hole နဲ့တွေ့ရတာသဘောကျတယ်ဒီရှာ
get
အ
a
မောသဘော
kill.
ကျတယ်ဘောက်
Also,
စီရဲ့
in terms of
rima
the
ဆက်သ
stuns
ဘော
that
ကျ
they
တယ်
have,
liquid
they
မှာ
don't
900
have
လို့သဘောကျတယ်
You have Bounty Hunter with the
အားကြောင့်
stun,
ဝယ်
which
ယူ
you
လိုက်
have
တယ်
to
ပြော
use
ပါ
to
တော့
execute, and then you have
ပြီးတော့
Burma.
silver light က
That's
ဒီဘက်
about
နေ
it.
မှာတော်တော်လေး KB နိုင်
Infernal
တယ်
Blade.
ဗျမသိဘူး
And potentially Hoofstone.
Yeah.
အားလေးပေါ့အခုဒီမှာ marine တယောက်လည်းတာရတယ်ကွာတရား
Malrine down
marine
here
တာရ
just
လည်းကြောက်ဖို့
continuing
တော့
to
ကောင်းတယ်
farm
ကွာဘာလို့
while
marine စံကင်းရ
Sini and Saberlight maybe look to go for Malrine. Boxy also showing up in a TP out from Malrine back
Start
over
bailing.
towards mid as Nisha
Nisha?
now with that chilling touch. Bro strike a little bit short.
โอ้โห
However,
နိုင်နော်
decent
ဒီရှာ
damage onto this Ember who now has an Ice Blast coming his way.
လုံးအောင်မပေါ်လိုက်
The
ပါ
remnants towards
Got it.
bot and fills up that
Share it.
bottle with an amplified damage.
ဒီရှာတော့တန်သွားပြီပထမဆုံး ice play လေး
Panel
ရှောင်းလိုက်
talked
နိုင်တယ်
about maybe there's some
Don't
new
yeah.
tech coming out from mid sanking, whether he's going to be rushing Blink Dagger or going for something else. Road of Atos. I
ကဲ
really
ဆိုတော့
like
ကျွန်တော်
this.
10 minutes ဆိုတဲ့ timing ကိုရောက်လာပြီ10 minutes ဆိုတဲ့ timing မှာ
Time now.
နဝရရကြည့်မယ်ဆိုရင် mid နှစ်ကောင်မှာကတော့4300နဲ့3100နဲ့ဆို1100လောက်กว่าနေဗျစန်ကင်းကjungle free လည်းအများကြီးစားရတယ် AD တော့3ပြီးသွားပြီအောက်မှာချနေပြီအောက်မှာချနေပြီ marine sunstorm ထဲမှာကျွန်တော် sentry ပဲတစ်ခါထောင်ထားပြီးသား snake king ကိုတော့ try ကိုကြိုးစားတယ် snake king နဲ့ marine ရဲ့ sunstorm နဲ့ပြေးဝင်ဝိုင်းနေ borrow strike သွားပြီနောက်မှာ refresh မှာပြန်3တိုင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်ဒီ recommend ကြားလေးကိုပြန်ဝင်သွားတယ်ဗျ center skitter လဲပေးလိုက်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ skitter ရှော့သွားပြီ okay ဒါလေးတော့တန်တယ်တော့ black hole save light ကျွန်တော် marine ကိုတဲဆွဲလိုက်ရင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် marine ကတော့ပြန် trade လိုက်ရဗျ 2 for 1 trade ကျွန်တော် mid to mid trade လိုက်တဲ့အချိန်မှာ carry တကောင်မှာထိတ်ရတဲ့တော့တကယ်ကိုတန်းနေရောပဲ yeah အခုချိန်ထိတော့ကျွန်တော် ADF ပထမဆုံးတုံးကိုခုထိ3ချသေးတော့တွေ့ရတယ်ဗျADF နော်နည်းနည်းလေး performance ကျနေဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒါတွေပဲဗျနော် mass တွေပါလေမနေ့ကရတာတော့မနိုင်အောင်မစော့နိုင်ဘူးတော်တော်လေးဟို speed လွဲတာတွေပါတွေ့ရတယ်ဗျ ADF မှာကပောင်မှာအကောင်းဆုံး mass ဆိုတာအားလုံးလက်ခံထားပြီးသားပဲအဲ့ဒါကိုမှ speed လွဲတာတွေပါမနေ့ကတွေ့ရတယ်နော်ကဲနော်အဲ့တော့အောက်မှာ silver light ကျွန်တော် drone တွေပါပြီးသွားပြီကျွန်တော် next item တော့ fight ကျွန်တော်ပြောရနော်ဒီဘက် fight အရင်လို့တယ် fight ရဲ့ crimson ကနှစ်ခုပေါင်းထိလိုက်မယ်ဆိုအခု sangin တွေကို counter လို့ရတယ်။အဲ့တော့ sangin ရဲ့ epicenter ကပုံမှန်ဆိုရင် magic damage ဆိုမှအပြာရောင်းထိလိုက်ရင် magic နဲ့ဟိုဟာနဲ့ဒီ physical damage ပေါ့နော်နှစ်ခုရှိတယ်အဲ့တော့နှစ်ခုလုံးကိုဒါအဲ့ပိုင်းနဲ့ crimson ကပေါက်ဖွင့်ပြီးဝင်လာမယ်ဆို sangin လုံးဝ counter ပြီးသားပဲကွာဒါလေးတော့မစိုးဘူးအဲ့တော့အဓိကတော့ crit က level 6မရောက်သေးတာကြောင့်လည်းပါတယ် crit level 6ရောက်တော့မှ falcon က solo key လိုက်ကောက်မှာပေါ့နော် track goal တွေနဲ့အဲ့တော့ arcane cast last war တင်ထားတယ်ကျွန်တော် nisha borrow strike နဲ့ physical check နဲ့တော်တော်ကိုင်းသွားပြီဗျ nisha haste run ထက်ရတယ်ဗျ nisha ပဲ run ရနေတော့မယ် good ကျွန်တော် KD နှစ်ကောင်ကြားထဲမှာ3800နဲ့4400ဆိုတော့600လောက်ပဲကွာတယ်ကျွန်တော် mid နှစ်ကောင်ကြားမှာတော့နည်းနည်းလေးပြက်တယ်ပေါ့နော်9100နဲ့3900နီရှာနဲ့နေနေတာမှာကော6ကောင်မှာအောက်ဆုံးဖြစ်နေတယ် off lane နှစ်ကောင်မှာကျတော့ don ဖြစ်နေတာအကြောင်းလည်းကောင်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်နောက်ပြီးတော့ဒုံဖြစ်နေတဲ့အကြောင်းဟို fan လို့ကောင်းတာအကြောင်းနောက်တော့တတိယနေရာတော့လိုက်လာနေရယ်သူဒုံလည်းတစ်ခါမှမတင်ရသေးဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ဒီ falcon တင်းမှာက network တွေကအရင်ဟိုဖြစ်လို့မရအခုချိန်မှာအရင်နှိမ့်နေရယ်ဆိုရင်တော့မကြခင်မှာ track goal တွေနဲ့တော့ shot ပြန်တက်လာနေတဲ့အနေအထားမှာရှိရယ် sentry ထောင်လိုက်ပြီး slayer face spime လိုက်တယ်ကျွန်တော် tower ထဲမှာပဲ sentry ထည့်ပြီးတော့ nisha ကို recovery ပေးထားတယ်ဗျ nisha 4100တော့ပြန်ဖြတ်သွားပြီကျွန်တော် milling tower ကိုတော့7 minute ကတည်းက wave နဲ့တော့တက်ဖို့တော့ကြိုးစားနေကြတယ်ပေါ်မှာဒုံနဲ့ဘာဖြစ်နေဘာမှမဖြစ်ဘူးဒီမှာ 2 fan ကို fan ပဲ making နဲ့ဒုံနဲ့တွေ့နေတယ်အလဲမှာ drone တွေပါတီးထားပြီးတော့ပဲကျွန်တော် first tower တော့ try နေရကျွန်တော် marine ဝင်တော့ဝင်ချင်းနေဆိုမဲ့ tower တနိုင်မရလိုက်ပြီ silver light ပဲကျွန်တော် etalon လေးနဲ့ရသွားတယ်ပုံမှန်တော့ ADF ကိုပြန် try မယ်ကျွန်တော် avalanche သုံးထားတယ်နောက်က we are the wonder ကျွန်တော်ကြောက်ပုတ်တစ်ခါလေးပဲရိုက်ထားရင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်တောင်းဖြစ်နေရပြ toast ပါပြန်ပေးလိုက်မယ်နည်းနည်းလေးလိုနေသေးတယ် ice blast dawn နှစ်ခုလုံးအတွဲလိုက်လေးပဲ mickey စားလိုက်ရတယ် mickey နည်းနည်းတော့တော်တော်ခံနိုင်နေပြ mickey မသေးတော့ဘူးအဲ့တော့ crit ကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ပဲ Hugh try ရတယ် crit shadow walk ပြန်သုံးထားတယ်ကျွန်တော် recommend နဲ့ပြန်ဝင်လာပြီး dash ကြားထဲမှာပဲကျွန်တော်တကောင်ပြင်ရတယ်ဗျအဲ့တော့ first dawn ပြန်လဲရရှိထားတယ် mickey မသေးတော့ဘူးကျွန်တော် 8 dose ပြန်ပေးတယ်ဒါမှလည်းအဲ့ oh my god marine first side 8 dose okay ထပ်ပြီးတော့ပဲကျွန်တော်ထိန်း the beast သုံးတိုင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် TP ထောက်သွားတယ်ဗျအဲ့တော့ liquid စင်တော့တော်တော်ပြေးနေလိမ္မာသွားပြီအများကြီးမပတ်တော့ဘူး okay ကျွန်တော်ခုနပေးထားတဲ့အချိန်မှာ liquid ဝင်တာအောက်ကတော်တော်ကောင်းအောင်နော်
They need a little bit more Turblade also not joining in any of these fights. Crit is the one who's struggling the most. This is a very difficult game for him where he's level 4.
တကယ်လို့လေအဆင်ပြေ Facebook ကလူတွေကျွန်တော် YouTube မှာလာကြည့်ပြီးလို့ရရင်ကြည့်ပေးနော်ဒီက brother တို့ဘာလို့ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်အဓိကအခြားအကြောင်းမဟုတ်ကျွန်တော် comment ဖတ်ကြတာကျွန်တော်ဖုန်းတစ်လုံးပဲရှိတော့ဖုန်းက YouTube ပဲဖွင့်ထားလို့အားကြောင့်ပေါ့နော်နောက်နေ့ကျရင်တော့ monitor နှလုံးလောက်ဆင်ပြီးတော့လုပ်ပေးမယ် black hole တဲ့ဆွဲတိုင်းနဲ့ကျွန်တော် ending မှာနေတော့ mask ကိုတော့ဆုံးသက်ဒုံးကိုတော့ဆုံးသက်ပေးလိုက်ပြီဗျ okay
to defend. There's just not enough damage, and also this fight, it's gonna come online relatively soon on Enigma. This is a big timing. Needs another 800 gold to finish it off. They're gonna smoke. Saberlight for now. Solo pushing. They do have a kill threat on one of the heroes. Burrow strike and Ancient Apparition Blast. It's a lot of magic damage. Ice Vortex is maxed out. Damage has already been done.
Oh, global silence.
Global silence ပြန်လာပေးထားတယ်
I mean, a lot of Atos was the only part of that combo that they even got off.
That's it. They banned global silence. Long cooldown.
That's right.
120 seconds.
You could also say they saved Saberlight very preemptively. Like you said, he's not too far away from that pipe. Still no track here for Bounty Hunter. He's just level 5, but they finally find Saberlight, and it's not going to matter this time. They get the kill. Malrine gets credit for that one, and this tier 1 tower top Mosquito here in the metamorphosis should be dead.
Supports are doing so much more. On side of Liquid, you have 2 big team fights.
Okay. Atos Marine ကျွန်တော် separate hero တွေကိုကောင်းတော့ကောင်းတော့ Atos ပဲဗျနော်သူရဲ့ support တွေက Atos fan ဖို့ရကလည်းခက်တဲ့ကောင်တွေဆိုတော့သူတို့ပဲသူကိုယ်တိုင်ပဲထည့်ထားတယ်အဲ့တော့ Dawn အနေနဲ့ Sanch သွားမယ်ရချက် Sanch သွားမယ်ပုံမဲ့သေးတာအဲ့တော့ဒါမှမဟုတ် design လည်းကောင်းတာပဲအလဲမှာပြန်ပြီးတော့ပဲလူပြန်စုထားတယ် Tin Liquid
Doesn't end up mattering. Snaking is
တကခုမှသွားမှာ Marine က
shadowing Mallory.
Marine နဲ့ Snaking ပဲ gameplay တွေလောက်အောင်ပါတိတာသူတို့နှစ်ယောက်ပဲတွေ့ရမှာ Ice ဒီ Atos ထိုးမယ် Borrow Strike သုံးမယ်အဲ့ဒါကမှ Ice Blast ပြင်မယ်ပါညာဒီတက်ပုံပြီးတေးကြအောင်လို့ကျွန်တော် Marine နေနဲ့တက်ကသွားနေ Marine အဲ့ Atos ကြီးကပုတ်သွားပြီလို့ကျွန်တော်ခံစားရတယ်တက်ကရသွားပြီဆိုရင်အဲ့ Atos ကတိမ်းစားလို့မရတော့တိတ်ပြီးတော့တဲ့ဒါပေမဲ့နီရှာကိုဖမ်းတဲ့နေရာမှာတော့ကောင်းတော့ဗောနော်ဒါပေမဲ့နီရှာကိုဖမ်းဖို့ကလည်းတက်ကထွက်သွားပြီဆိုရင်တက်က Borrow Strike ပဲလေတဲ့တက်က Borrow Strike ကရှောင်မှုကတော်တော်ခက်တယ်လေတဲ့တက်က Borrow Strike ကိုမရှောင်နိုင်ဘူးဒါပေမဲ့ Atos သွားတာကတက်ကထဲဖို့တဲ့ plan မရှိလို့သွားရလို့ကျွန်တော်ထင်လိုက်တာကွာတဲ့ဒါပေမဲ့တက်ကပြန်သွားနေရယ်နီရှာကို try နေပြီနီရှာတည်ရနည်းတည်ရနောက် Insania ရှိရ Global Silence ရှိရ Black Hole မရှိဘူး Save Light အပေါ်မှာပဲနော်အဲ့တော့ Terrorblade ကတော့ရာရှာနဲ့ရှက်သွားနေရယ်Skitter ရဲ့ KB ကိုအဲ့အကြောင်းတိတ်မကြိုက်တာ item ကြီးရဆောင်းလွှဲမနေ့က Templar Assassin အဲ့လိုပဲ Desolator ကြီးထည့်ပြီ Desolator ကပြမ critical ကတော့အရင်ဆုံးပေးဆက်လိုက်ရပြီကျွန်တော်ဒီ Insania Killing Spree ကျွန်တော် Atos သုံးထားရဆိုမဲ့လဲကျွန်တော် SKF ပြန်သုံးထားတယ်ဗျအဲ့တော့ Epicenter တွေပဲတစ်ခါလေးပဲတန်းခွဲတိုင်းနေမှာ Boxy တကောင်တော့အကုန်ပေးပြီးတတ်ထားတယ်ဗျဝီရ 1 dot ပြန်ချခဲ့ဆိုမဲ့ 0 impact ဗျအဲ့တော့15မိနစ်တော်မနာအောက်မှာတစ်ခါလေးပဲ Falcon ယူမယ်ဒါကိုပြန်ပြီးယူရမလားဆိုတော့ Maria တော့ဗျပေးလိုက်ပြီပေါ့နော်အဲ့တော့ support to support လဲ trade လိုက်ရတဲ့အပြင်တော်မနာမပေးလိုက်ရတော့ liquid နေနည်းနည်းလေးတော့နစ်နာသွားတယ်အခုချိန်မှာလာမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့တော်နောက်ကျသွားပြီတော်မနာကပေးလိုက်ရပြီဝိုင်းလေဝိုင်း
The only thing I was going to say is if you get an early shard for this silencer,
okay အဲ့တော့ Civilized မှာတော့ fight တော့ပါလာခဲ့ပြီဗျ
all of a sudden you're brain draining these heroes pretty heavily.
liquid ကဘယ်လိုမျိုးအော်အောင်ပို့ပြီးွားဖြစ်နေတာ
Early shard on Bounty Hunter.
1.1 နဲ့ဒီမှာသူတို့ရှိရတက်လာပါဒါ CV or CV or CV ဝင်တာအော်ကဲအဲ့တော့ Falcon အနေနဲ့ကဂနေရှက်မှာ crit ကိုရသွားတာအဲ့တော့ Shadow War ကြီးအလိုင်းကိုတင်ပြီးအေးအော်တန်လိုက်တာကွာ IK က Don't တင်ဖို့တော့လက်ရွယ်နေဆိုမှလည်းတိန်းတဲ့ Beast ADF Don't တင်ဖို့လက်ရွယ်သားရွယ်နေရမတင်ပြလိုက်ဘူးပေါ့နော်ဘေးနောက်မှာဆိုင်းကင်းရှိနေတော့သူနည်းနည်းရွယ်နေအဲ့တော့သူလက်ရွယ်တယ်ဆိုတော့ဘေးနောက်မှာဘော်ရိုင်ဘော်ကျွတ်တွေရှိမယ်ဆိုတော့နီရှာတော့ခံမှန်းထားရပုံပဲလိုက်ရှာနေအဲ့တော့ Insania တခါလေးပဲ Global Silence မှာပေးတိုင်းနဲ့မအောက်မှာနဲ့တိုင်ပတ်သွားပြီကျွန်တော် Ice Black ကလည်းထွက်ထားပြီးဒါ Spectre ကုန်သွားပြီအဲ့ဒီဘက်မှာ Sneaking ဟို Global Silence ရဲ့တကောင်မှပြင်မရနိုင်ဘူး But it's okayချေကိစ္စမရှိဘူးအဲ့တော့ AC ပဲ
Not enough. Mage Slayer keeping him alive there. Still a 2k gold lead for Falcons. As you said, slow, methodical. This is how they play. Getting farm somewhere else. Look where Skeeter farms right now. He's on the you don't even see opposite side of the map. That icon.
ဒီမှာ Terrorblade အနေနဲ့တော်တော်လေး struggle ဖြစ်နေတဲ့ပုံပဲဒါပေမဲ့ no တော့ဆင်ပြေပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ online ဖြစ်တာမှမဟုတ်ကြည့်မယ်ဆိုရင်တော့တိုင်နီကပိုပြီးဖြစ်လာမှာဒီလား online ဖြစ်မှာမြင်ရတယ်စကစ်တာနဲ့အဲ့လိုမျိုး hack call တွေနေတာတိတ်မလိုက်ဘူးမျိုးလုံးထဲမှာတိတ်တဘောမကြောက်ဘူးနော်တီတော့ပဲတဘောကြအောက်မှာစကစ်တာဗတဲ့ဆိုင်ဝတ်တဲ့သူအရင်ဆုံးပဲ position ယူရတယ် Insania နဲ့အရင်တွေ့ပြီကျွန်တော် refreshing တခါလေးပဲမလုံးစိတ်ဖောက်မှာပြောင်းနိုင်နေမယ် Insania တကောင်ပေးလိုက်ရပြီအဲ့လိုကိုကအဲ့လိုမကြိုက်ဘူးလို့ပြောလိုက်ချက်ချင်းထပြီး Hughie တကောင်မှာတက်ပြသွားတယ်ကောင်းတယ်
The average
Okay let's go Tin Liquid
match time or game time for Falcons 43 minutes.
They had some longer games, even though I feel yesterday they could have closed them out relatively early.
Yeah, ADF ရကြဆန်းတခါလေးလေကင်းထွက်ကြိုပြီးတော့တင်နေပြီ item ပေးတွေကသူအဲ့လိုမျိုး fan လို့ရအောင်လဲ Marine တို့အနေနဲ့ fan ပြီးနေတာဗောနော်ချလို့ရတဲ့3ကောင်ကတတွဲတပူးနဲ့ပဲလုံးဝချပေးနေရယ်Sankin Atos သွားလာတဲ့အတွက်အခုမှစပြီးတော့ Agni Scepter ကိုစာလုံးရေးစပြီးတော့ဗောနော်စမှာအဲ့တော့နည်းနည်းလေးတော့အချိန်တော့လိုအောင်မယ် ဒါကြောင့်ထပ်ဖို့ကအေးတို့ကြီးကကျွန်တော်တခုထိနားမလဲသေးဘူး
comes down to closing
why
out the games.
တကားထဲမှာဆိုအေးတို့ထဲကြမလို့
It's
ဘူး
been
လေ
their specialty. This
သိ
is
လား
the
အိုင်စာ
old
sneaking ကို
style.
ပေးဖန်တယ် okay ဒီမှာ crit အနေနဲ့ Maleface
Crit is
stand ကြားထဲမှာပဲကျွန်တော် track တင်တာလား track တင်သွားတယ်နောက်ကနေ အော်ပိုက်သုံးတယ်ဆိုတော့မလောက်တော့ဘူးအဲ့တော့ဒီဘက်မှာ SKF ဆိုပေမဲ့လည်းမလုံလောက်ဘူးပြအဲ့တော့ Marine ကိုပဲ touch ချေကိုစူးစမ်းဆိုတော့ bouncy တူကန်လည်းရမ်းနာနေပြီနောက်မှာ Nisha ပြေးဝင်လာနေပြီကျွန်တော် sneaking ကိုအရင် try မယ် sneaking ရှော့ပြီလားရှော့ပြီအနောက်မှာလည်း bouncy ကိုတော့ Marine ရယူဝိုင်းနေပဲ TP တဲထောက်သွားပြီဗျမတန်ရေးချမတန်ဘူးပေါ့နော် support နှစ်ကောင်နဲ့ offlane support နဲ့လဲ
Tiny
သွား
still
တာ
hasn't been involved. This is the time where Tiny wants to come. He has his shard, Echo Saber, Shadow Blade ready. Shard is your farming tool, so is Echo Saber. So
ကျွန်တော်
we
mid
can
game မှာ
now
တော့မ
expect
စိုးဘူး
Mickey
ပေါ့
to
နော်
get
Shadow
involved
Blade
in
ရယ်
some fights. He has
Echo
good
Saber
defense
ရယ် Shadow Blade ရယ် Echo Saber ရယ်ဟိုမှာ shot ပါဝယ်လာပြီးသား
Tiny.
ဒါလေးကမစိုး
They've been playing 4 versus 5. They should be able to utilize this pipe Mage Slayer combination that they have. Try to look for a fight.
Saber Light တက်က
Once it's up
အဲ့တော့
online.
bite တက်ကထင်နေ
I
ကြည့်ရ
think
တော့ तू black hole လွတ်လွတ်ကျွတ်ဆွဲပြီးဖို့အတွက်ကို global silent ရှိနေတော့ तू AC ဘက်တက်ကတန်းသွားတယ်ဒါလေးကမစိုး
Roche still on the dire side for another 30 seconds.
Then it'll be taking that
Whoa, 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 whoa.
over to the other side.
အာ Insania သေပြီပေါ့ global silent ချက်ချင်းပဲတုံးလိုက်တယ်အဲ့တော့ let's walk Arkansas ပါ ADS ကောင်မှတင်နိုင်တယ် score တုံးလိုက်တော့ချက်ချင်းပဲ silent မိသွားပြီးတော့ Mickey ရောက်လာခဲ့ပြီဗျ Mickey sneaking ကိုပဲအရင်ဖြတ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားတယ် Who 1 တော့ပဲတန်းချရင်လည်းပဲဆို sneaking ကောင်တော့ရလိုက်တယ်ကျွန်တော် Marine ကိုပါ touch chase မှာလားအနောက်မှာလည်းကျွန်တော် Don ရှိကနေပြီးတော့ Fly Fish နဲ့ရှောင်းလာရင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် Mickey chase တော့ chase တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့အရင် chase လို့မရဘူး initiate ဖို့ကနည်းနည်းလေးခက်နေတယ် offlane ကကျွန်တော် in မှာဖြစ်နေတော့ဗောနော်
That doesn't
ဆိုတော့လွတ်ပေးလိုက်ပါပြီ
they can't get these kills.
They definitely wanted some bigger
အဲ့ဒီတော့
targets. Tiny
နီရှာကြိုက်ပဲเนาะနီရှာရရဆိုင်မှာသွားမယ်အဲ့တော့ဒီမှာကဒီဘက်မှာရရဆိုင်နေရန်ကောင်းတယ်
is the perfect target, but
ဖိုက်ရရရဆိုင်ရှင်ကအရန်တန်တယ်ဒီဘက်မှာနီရှာရရဆိုင်သွားတာမစိုးဘူးအဲ့ဘောင်း Borrow Strike နဲ့ Borrow Strike ဝင်ပြီးနောက်ပိုင်း follower လာမယ့်ဟာတွေရှောင်းနိုင်မရပြီBorrow Strike လွဲသွားပြီကျွန်တော် slide of faith ပြန်ပေးရတယ်ကျွန်တော်Ancient Ice Blood ကပါလွဲသွားပြီဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော် Roshan ကင်းလို့ရပြီဗျ
Where's Tiny at?
ဒါပေမဲ့ Roshan ကင်းမှာမဟုတ်ပါဘူး Tiny ကလာဖို့ဝေးသေးတယ်
To go for Roshan with amplified damage and Ancient Apparition ulti just missed, but Tiny he is far away from the fight.
He's
အလေကို မကေကိုယ်တိုင် TP ကြလာပြီ smoke မှာလား Black Hole ရန်ဆွဲကျင်နေပြီSaber Light က Black Hole ရန်ဆွဲကျင်နေပြီအဲ့တော့ Black Hole ဆွဲရင် damage ပေးဖို့ရက Tiny ကိုတခါတည်းခေါ်နေပြီ Global Silent ကမကြခင်ပြင်ရမှာလားဘယ်လိုလိုသေးလဲဒီနေ့တော့လိုမဲ့ပုံပဲ10 minute ကျော်10 minute ဆိုတော့10 minute နေပါစက္ကန့်40 50လောက်လိုမယ်ထင်တယ်
Now inside the jungle of Falcons, but Mickey back to farming, looking at that Sanjin Yasha.
Yeah,
That
Sunshine.
Yasha and nobody going ferocious yet. Radamato's picked up here for snaking.
အော်ရဆက်ဆန်းရှယ်ရဆက်ဆန်းရှယ် Echo Saber ရယ်
Ancient
Shadow
Apparition.
Blade ရယ်နော် Shadow Blade ရယ်
Some
လောက်ဆိုရင်တော့တော်တော် damage ထွက်နေပါပြီအဲ့တော့မှ Granny Shot ဝယ်ထားရဗျာ Tiny ရဲ့ shot နဲ့ဆိုတော့သူ့ရဲ့ 3 toss က Elemental Charge ဖြစ်သွားပြီ
We haven't really
Three throw
felt
မပြစ်မ
the
ချင်း
effects of that shard. It's okay. I would say the ancient
ကဲ
apparition
fair ကုန်နေနေတော့
probably
Hello my friend နဲ့ Hello
better
တိုင်မင်္ဂလာပါ
supplies
တိုင်
on the ancient
နော်အ
apparition.
ရင်တော့မင်းတို့ဘန်မှာငါငွေလာမထုတ်ဖြစ်တော့ဘူးဗျာ
It is. It definitely is. It's a follow up.
ရန်ကုန်မှာကျန်ခဲ့လို့
have
ပေါ့
sanking, so you can easily follow it with a stun.
ကိုကြီးဖုန်းဝါ
Use
ဖိုင်
Road
ပြော
of
ပါ
Athos later if necessary for a little bit more control. Boxy.
အဲ့ဒီဘက်မှာ Avalanche လွဲသွားတယ်ကျွန်တော်တိမ့်တဲ့ beast ထိသွားတယ်နောက်ကနေ ice block ပါတန်းဝင်လာတယ် SK ကပြန်ထည့်ပေးတာဒီမဲ့ SK ကနားတယ် Saber Light လာပြီ Maleface တန်းပေးတိုင်းတယ် Marine တကောင်ရေဖြုတ်ကြိုးစားတယ် Marine Borrow Strike 1 second ဆိုမှ Maintain the beast နဲ့ပဲညားသွားပြီဗျ Insania ကိုပြစ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားတယ်ဆိုမှ Skater နေနဲ့ဂုံးပေါ်တော့နည်းနည်းပြတ်တက်နေရရင်ပဲ Saber Light ကို toss ပေးတိုင်းတယ် Saber Light Black Hole တဲဆွဲပေးရမယ် Nisha Triple K 80လုံးနဲ့အကုန်လုံးကိုလိုက်ပိုင်းနေတယ် crit ကိုပါထပ်ပိုင်းဖို့တဲ့ mana နည်းနည်းလေးလို့ရသွားပြီ
Really having the mana to
ရွေးချယ်မှုတွေမှန်ကန်နေသေးပါပဲခင်ဗျာကွန်းငယ်
Card, he kind of tossed himself the combination as well.
and now he just tosses a black hole in there. I mean, that is one way to get in. You don't need blink if you just get tossed in. That was awesome.
blend အောင်မလို့ဟမ် Black Hole က share ပဲ toss နိုင်ပြီးသွားတယ်
Escape back, Ice Blast doesn't really do that much to Mickey.
နော်တိုင်နေကတော့ stress resistance ရများကြပဲနောက်တော့ pipe ပါ all ပြီးတော့ ice block တော့တိတ်ဂီးမဆိုင်တော့
Your mind as the camera shifts down.
အဲ့ဒါပဲ Sanking က A2 ထိတ်လိုက်တာကျွန်တော်မကြိုက်ဘူးဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒါပဲအခုတက်ထိကို
You go in.
မိုက်တယ်ကွာ ADS ကရှင်းနေတဲ့တိုးလိုက် ADS ပါတင်ပါ
They'll get two more.
And it's not going to get easier. Enigma now has a
အော်သူကဘာဖြစ်သွားလဲဆိုတော့ဗျာကျွန်တော်ပြောရမယ် A-dose ခံလိုက်တဲ့အတွက်သူဒက်ကာထည့်လိုက်တာနောက်ကျသွားတယ်ဒက်ကာထည့်လိုက်တဲ့အတွက်အပြာကြောင်နောက်ကျသွားတယ်အပြာကြောင်နောက်ကျသွားတော့ BKB နောက်ကျသွားတယ် BKB မပိုင်ဒီဘက်မှာ gain ဆော့လို့မရအောင် you know စန်ကီမှာ BKB မပိုင်ဒီဘက်ဘလုံးမှာ gain ဆော့လို့မရအောင် Avalanche Toss ရှိတယ် Arcane Cast Last War ကသူ့ဒုက္ခအပေးဆုံးပဲနောက်ပြီးလို့ရှိရင် Global Silence ရှိတယ်ဒါတွေကိုသူရမ်းကြောက်ရမှာကွာဒီကပြီး Slide of Swing Chain နဲ့အောင်မှာသူပြီးသွားတယ်သူကိစ္စသူ့ကဲပြီးဖို့ saving တယောက်မှမရှိဘူးနော်ဆန်နာလာလေးဖို့ပဲရှိတယ်ဆန်နာလဲရင်တော့လဲတဲ့ကောင်သိပဲဘာလို့အမ်မအဲ့ကောင်ပြေးလိုက်လို့ရတယ်ဒီဘက်မှာ crit မလဲ face တန်းခံထားရတယ်ပြတိုင်နေပါတပီဆင်းလာပြီဗျNisha Avalanche နှစ်ချက်ရိုက်ပြီး Mickey ရထိုင်းနေမှာ Insomnia ကိုတော့ OB အောက်ထဲကနေပြီး spotted တော့ဖြစ်သွားတယ် Insomnia အဲ့တော့ OB စစ်တင်နေနော်အဲ့ဝက်ကြီးကငါနည်းနည်းခံစားနေတာအဲ့ဝက်ကမကောင်းတာတစ်ခုဖြစ်လာမှာငါခံစားနေရ OB အောက်ကိုတော့ဝင်သွားပြီ Insomnia အပေါ်လမ်းမှာဟဲ့ရောက်ရေး typical C server support ကြာနေတာပဲ create အုပ်မြင်တာနဲ့ပြေးစားတာဟဲ့ရောက်ရေးဘာလောက်တာတော့လို့အဲ့ဒါဘာလောက်တာတော့လို့တားလေးရဲ့အဲ့ဘာလောက်တာလဲတကယ်ချင်းရဲ့ငက်ပြန်တယ်တော်တော်ငက်နေတာ
believe flying out for Malorine or yeah so he'll have that upgraded
ဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲတားကြီးကအဆင်မပြေလို့လားမဟုတ်ဘူးတားထိုင်းရောက်သွားလို့
epicenter
အော်ဒီက Manny Grand နဲ့ထုတ်နေရတယ်
and we'll see if they can make that work
ကဲ track တင်ထားတယ်
in the next team fight
စန်ကင်ဂိနေဆက်တာအခုမှရတယ်ကျွန်တော်ပြောလို့ပဲ PKB မရရင်ဘယ်တဲ့ဆိုင်လို့သိမရသေးဘူး ADF ကိုပဲရှေ့ကနေခေါင်းတင်ရမှာပဲ Nisha ခေါင်းပေါ်မှာ track တင်ခံထားတယ်အောင်မကတောက်ချောက်လိုက်လာတယ်ဗျအဲ့တော့ဒွန်းတင်ခံရဖို့ထန့်စီတော့ရှိရဆိုမှလည်း Shadow Wall နဲ့ဒီဘက်မှာ set chase နေတော့ပဲ Tiny လည်းရှိရ Sentry West Sentry scan something do something please just scan နဲ့မှာ Nisha ကိုထပ်မိသွားပြီအဲ့တော့ Nisha ကိုလိုက် chase နေတော့ပဲအဲ့တော့တယောက်တည်းတမ်းမလောက်တော့ Marine ကူညီနေပဲကောင်းတစ်ချက်ခေါက်ဒွန်းတင် A-Dose Epicenter Borrow Strike နောက်ကနေ Ice Blood ပါထက်လာ SK က3နိုင်ဆိုတော့မရောက်ဘူးပြ Impact ကတော့ထိနေတော့မယ်ကျွန်တော် Bounty Over Touch ဖို့ကြိုးစားတယ်တိန်းတဲ့ Beast ပြန်ပေးတိုင်းတွေကျွန်တော် ADF နည်းနည်းတော့ပြန်ဘတ်သွားပြီ Nisha ကတော့ဗိုင်ဘက်ပြန်ထွက်မဲ့ပုံပဲဗျာတိကျဒီဘက်တုံနိုင်အောင်ဆိုင်မဲ့ပုံပဲအဲ့တော့ Nisha ဘက်မဲ့ရှိနေတဲ့အတွက်ဒီနားမှာပြန်ပြီးတော့ဆိုင်ဖို့ကြိုးစားနေကြတယ် Tin Liquid လာမဆိုင်ကြသေးဘူးလာမဆိုင်ကြသေးတော့ Domina ထွက်လာပြီကျွန်တော် Domina ကိုယူဖို့ကြိုးစားမှာလားအဲ့တော့တစ်ဖက်က ADF တို့အနေနဲ့ကတော့ဒါ spell နှစ်ခုမရှိတော့ ultimate 3ခုမရှိတော့တော်လာဆိုင်မှာမဟုတ်တော့ဘူးအဲ့တော့ Domina ကိုပဲအပြည့်ယူလိုက်ပြီဗျ Yeah let's go liquid liquid ဆိုကို liquid
where one team takes Tormentor they know exactly where they are the other team goes for Roche immediately Skeeter will pop his meta
anybody aware maybe not coming this direction
Lucian တော့ပြီးလိုက်ရပြီနော်
Ringmaster circled it but just they're not going to be there in time it'll be Aegis for the Terrorblade
Okay, so we told you already,
is a transformation hero after all, but I guess they also did not want to give it to Sanking. Doom is also not the best carrier. I love the itemization on Amar though. This is, I'm not gonna say a new tech. We've seen him do it before. It's not tendinitis. You keep selling it to get drums, get blink. Instead, he opts to go for drums double bracer, makes him super tanky than S and Y. So, because you still deal quite a lot of right-click damage, but if we look what he has chosen, he's all about that speed. Basically, has haste when he pops the drums. And
okay, let's go
level 15 talent as
Aegis
well.
တော့ပေးလိုက်ရတယ်ဒါတော့ဒါ fake one လုံးနေကြကွာပဲ
I mean, S
နေ
and
နေ
Y
လေ
is still
Aegis
one
သွား
of
ယူ
the
တာ
best, not the best item.
yeah
Ice Blast epicenter burrow strike kill on Tanisha
what the fuck
that's the combo they
ဟဲ့အောင်ရေးလို့ Aegis ပေးရတယ်နီရှားတေသွားတယ်ဟုတ်သေးဘူးနော်ဒီဘက်မှာအေးအဲ့ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့ဒါ Aegis နဲ့ကောင်ကြီးလေစန်တာပြန်လဲလိုက်ပြီဒီဘက်မှာထိန်းတဲ့ beast ပြန်ပေးရတယ်ကျွန်တော် shadow wall လာသုံးပေးရဆိုမှ dash မှာချက်ချင်းပြန်ဖွင့်နိုင်တယ်တော့ဘောင်းစီကိုပြန်ပြီး borrow strike ကြားထဲမှာ liquid lily light လုံးနေ liquid တိုင်းကြီးကလကားနေဒုံးနေခံရတော့မယ်ထင်တယ် toss လိုက်ပြီး global sign နဲ့တခါလေးပဲပေးရတယ်ဒီဘက်မှာလည်းကျွန်တော်ဘိုင်ဘက်ဘောင်းစီချက်ချင်းပြန်ပေးရတယ်ဆိုမှလည်းကျွန်တော် ADF ဘာလေးနဲ့လွတ်သွား force တက်နေတာโอ้နည်းတော့ခက်လာပြီနော်
No global. No embers.
နည်းတတိလက်လို့စောင့်နေကြလို့ခံစားရတယ်ဒီကနီရှာခုန Insania လည်းအပေါ်မှာအဲ့လိုမျိုးပြေးသေးပါ I create ကိုတွန်းငန်းတာ
this is going to be a tough few minutes now for Liquid potentially without that global silence.
Revenant Bro ရှာလားမဟုတ် Magic Damage က chance နဲ့ထွက်တာ
They want the BKB on the
Crit လဲထား Crit လဲထား
but don't quite have the gold for that. Now the top
ထည့်ရမှာဟုတ်တယ်သူက Daedalus ကိုမှာ budget ပါရှင်လေ
It's a bit of a slow burn from Falcons, but it's working. They're up.
ဟုတ်တယ်ကျွန်တော်ပြ armor ဆောင်ရများ
Liquid were kind of
အားလေးနဲ့ရရ
hold on this game, but with each kill, with each
ကိုမင်းကောင်းမြတ်မင်္ဂလာပါကိုကြီးရေနော်ဘန်ကောက်မှာအဆင်ပြေရလား နောက်ကြမှာကြုံမှတွေ့ကြပါတော့ကို
Did allow them to get back into the game. Skitter he continues to farm, and then with those two heroes, you can easily set things up. Kill
Okay, camera
any
can't be-
hero
yeah.
other than Tiny from 100 to 0. If they want to kill Tiny, they probably still need to doom him. Tiny did finish off his BKB, so 9-second BKB, SNY on top of it, going for Revenant's Brooch, wants to have that mixed damage against high armor on TB. Perfect target to kill.
Ooh, actually puts the doom down.
ကဲ Insania show သွားပြီ global sign လည်းမရှိဘူး TV ဘက်ကတည်းချင်းမကြလာ Silver Light တောက်လျှောက် drone တွေမှာ TV လိုက်တိုင်းနဲ့ပဲအေးအော်ဒီမှာ crit ကိုတော့ avalanche toss နဲ့ပဲရထားနေမှာကျွန်တော် ice ပါထပ်မိထားတယ်ဗျ Silver Light black hole မရှိတော့ချိန်မှာဘယ်သူမှတော့ respect တော့ပေးတော့ make ပြန်ပြီးတော့ ADF ကိုရိုက်ပေးထားနေမှာနောက်မှလည်း epicenter တယောက်မှတော့မထိပါဘူးအဲ့တော့အခုချိန်ထိတော့ liquid နေနဲ့အကြာရှုံးတော့တိတ်တော့မရှိသေးဘူးเนาะ make တောက်လျှောက်ကိုရိုက်ပေးတော့ဒီမှာ speaker ပြစ်တာကြီးနားတယ်เนาะနံပါတ်6ခါနဲ့ရိုက်နေတာเนาะ bowl strike မိသွားပြီနောက်မှလည်း A dose style fin နဲ့ပြန်ရှောင်ထားတယ်ဆိုမှလည်း rackman မရှိတော့ဘူးကျွန်တော် nisha တေးရတော့မှလားကျွန်တော်ပြန်ပြီးတော့ make နေတော့ skitter ကိုရိုက်ဖို့ကြိုးစားဆိုမှ skitter က ages နဲ့ကောင်းပြီအဲ့တော့ make နောက်ဆုံးမှာတော့ ADF ကောင်တော့ပြန်ယူသွားနေတော့ borrow strike တုံးလိုက်တယ်ဆိုမှလည်း BKB situation ကရှိနေတော့မှ skitter center တွေပြန်လဲထား refresh it oh my fucking god what the fuck ages လုံးကတော်တော်နှောက်သွားတယ်ကွာ ages ရှိနေလို့အဲ့ skitter ကိုမတက်ပဲထားရနေပြီအဲ့ skitter ပြစ်တဲ့ damage ကတော်တော်များတယ်ကြည့် skitter တယောက်တည်းနဲ့ no damage 6100တောင်ပေးသွားတယ်လီး saver လိုက်ကလည်းလမ်းလျှောက်နေမြေထဲမှာပြေးနေကောင် black hole လိုက်ဆွဲပါတယ်
That's Sunder saves the whole fight.
He was holding that center for a while, looking for the right opportunity to find somebody, and eventually does find the right person. Puts him up a little bit more. Still have 45 seconds left on this Aegis.
This looked funny. Boxy with escape act while having reflection on him. So he's trying to attack him while he's in the box. And this should be probably a tower for Falcons. There is global silence available. Malrine, he's in again.
They find Boxy.
Boxy's dead for a long time. 70 seconds. He used buyback.
time back Boxy
Do you try to force a high ground fight?
Sky ထွက်လာအဲ့ထပ်ပြီးတော့တိုင်းလေးရ Insania စေးထိုးနေရတယ်ဒီနေ့တပွဲလုံးငါကြည့်နေအဲ့ Insania လမ်းလျှောက်တဲ့နေရာတွေကဒီပဲလဲချမ်းကောင်တွေလျှောက်နေလို့ပဲ fan နေတယ်အဲ့ကောင်အောင်လို့
Nobody gonna make that jump though. To get the
ဟာ Marine နဲ့ BKB ကနောက်ကျမှာဆိုမှာပဲ battery နိုင်တော့ BKB ကအစောကြီးပြန်ထွက်လာပြီဒီ
And no Aegis right now. When you watch the way Falcons play, pretty much means no high ground.
အားလီပိုင်းမှာ black hole ကောင်းတာတွေကတိတ်ချီချူလို့မရ black hole ကလေကင်းညမှာအရေးကြီးတယ်အားလီပိုင်းမှာဆွဲပတဲ့ပဲ
High ground or just high or ground?
It's more about
ခတ်သွားပြီ liquid ခတ်သွားပြီတန်းကြီးတောင်ပေးရရပြီ Aegis လေးတစ်ခုမထီမဲ့မြင်လေးနဲ့ mass ဝဲနဲ့ညံ့တာကွာဒီပဲအရင်ကတော့ဟိုဒီလိုချင်းနေမှာဒီလိုမျိုးလုံးနိုင်နေဆိုတော့တိထားမှာပေါ့တရား
BKB on Enigma. Things are going to be much easier.
ပြီးတော့ဒီ Nisha လည်းစောင်းတစ်လဲနေ BKB ပါအောင် BKB မထည့်ဘူး Mace Layer တွေဆန်းနေဆိုတော့ဘက်က disable ကိုဆက်လေးပြီးတော့နားတာပေါ့လို့
Sometimes it's the one.
သူ disable အကြီးမပါတော့ကွာအကြာကြီးထိန်းလို့ရတဲ့ကောင်မပါတော့ तू ကရရှာဆန်းချုပ်ပါလို့ပဲတွားတယ်ကွာဒီကမန်နာဆိုင်လည်းမဟုတ်ဘူးအဲ့တော့ဟိုဘက်က A2 တွေ Bowl Strike တွေဒုံးတစ်ချက်ကောင်းခောက်တာတွေနဲ့ပဲလုပ်နေတာ Okay
Quickly, this one though is
nice black hole let's go ထက်လိုက်မယ်ဟုတ်တယ်စန်ကင် BKB တောင်းမယ် BKB ရပြီလိုက်
for Malrine and global silence comes.
Oh, yo.
Damage not enough.
အိုးနည်းနည်းလေးပဲလို့လားနောက်မှာတကောင်ထပ်မိနေ sneaking နော် sneaking လား speaking လားတော့မသိဘူး speaking ကိုလိုက်တက်ဟိုဘက်မှာမြင်သွားပြီ Nisha slide obviously chain ခိုင်းပဲပြပေးတာလေ ice pack ကိုလုံးဝ YouTube ပေါ်တော့ကြောင်လို့ပြပေးသွားရဆိုပေမဲ့လည်းကျွန်တော်နှစ်ကောင်ပြန်ရတယ်ဗျ liquid စင်တော့ပြေသွားပြီ
Which puts him at 13. I was going to be a little bit more excited for the number to come up, but 13 is not exactly a big
Nice, nice, guys, nice.
At this point, it doesn't really
Nice.
matter. It's more about that early stages.
Pass.
How you're gonna transition.
Uh,
If you have between
ဒီမောင်ကိုဆိုင်ဟာလေးပေါ့ကိုကြီးမောင်ကိုဆိုင်မှာ40ဘတ်တန်လေးရှိရယ်အားလေးပေါ့
I mean, if he gets like 6 more
60,
kills
yeah.
on
နော်
Terrorblade or Sand King, maybe they just don't have the mana anymore.
We're at the point where mana pool is relatively big. Terrorblade, he has 1600 mana, so he doesn't care too much about it. Everybody else, mana pool looks good. It's not like you're killing, I don't know,
Okay.
Centaur,
Okay.
Troll, some of these more.
ဒီကီမရှိဘူးနော် second 20 century ရှိတာ century မရှိဘူး century မရှိဘူး Jane နဲ့ဟဲ့ဒီပဲ
4000 HP on
Jane နဲ့တာကြီးပတ်တော့ represent pro ရှိသွားဖန်သွား black hole လေးစောင့်နော်ဟိုကောင်တွေကဒွန်းနေအပီစနာရှိတော့ပြန်ချနေနေပြီ
undying for
န
you.
ည်းပြန်ချေးလိုက်နည်းပြန်ချေးလိုက်
Permanently.
Okay မေကြီးရှိအောင်တွေ့သွားပြီဒွန်းလိုက်လာမှာ
Steals.
လိုက်လာပေါ်ပြန်တက်သွားပြီဟိုမှာ sneaking ကိုမြင်နေရ sneaking ကိုမြင်နေရ
In a good spot. He had his good run with the
smoke ပြန်
fast.
smoke မှာလား
Now he kind of feels
Black hole ဘယ်လောက်ကျန်နေလဲ
When the new patch dropped.
ဟော black hole ကဒီမှာကြည့်
We
လို့မ
saw a couple of these players trying out Mask of Madness, Glimmer Cape Pudge with the right click, but it's just not working out. Even in pubs, you can't really see the hero.
တော့ပေါ့ကွာ save လိုက်ရ black hole ကောင်း
I'll
နေ
tell that to my Al.
မင်း engage လိတာပဲကွာမင်း captain မဲကိုမင်းလုံးစမ်းပါ
That is the double pick. Every game, if you pick
Captain
Pudge
ရတယ်, တစ်ခုလုပ်
first
ပါ
and Pudge is immediately picked by the
captain
other
နဲ့ engage လိတာ engage လိတာဖြစ်များ
team.
နော်
They
captain
still
က
don't know that
design
that
ရ
hero's dead, but if I'll have you coach
အော်
you
လူ
by
တစ်ကို
games
တော့
just
captain
to
ချက်
know.
ချင်းမပေးတော့ engage လိတာလောက်ပဲပေးပါ
And then you can go.
One game. I
အခုဒါအိုမာမာပိုလိုကဈေးသက်တာတဲ့
to see what's
50ဘတ်
going
လောက်ပဲ
on.
ရှိဟာလားမာပိုလိုကတန်တော့
What's wrong?
What's wrong with
ရန်
me?
ကုန်
and
မာ
my
ပိုလို
game?
2000ကတ်တယ်
Sounds like you played.
Okay insania ကောင်းတယ် Shrine Western ရတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လည်း TP တဲထောက်လို့မရဘူးဒါပေမဲ့နီရှာလာနေပြီ
Yeah,
OB ထောင်းလိုက်တယ်
I
Century မ
agree
ပေါ
pretty
Century မ
heavily.
ဟောသေးဘူး
To nobody's surprise. Not
Crit
even
ကအကုန်လုံး scout နေရငါအဲ့ဒါကိုစိုးတာအဲ့ Crit ကအဲ့လိုမျိုးအရင် scout တာ
Set things up here.
Century ကောက်ထောင်လိုက်တယ် Crit ကိုမြင်သွားပြီ Force that
Ice Blast.
Ice Block ကတော့ထိထားတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ Nisha oh
Doom comes through. They do have global silence if they want to use it, but
Blue Nisha slow hand သွားတော့
Dead to rights anyway here on
အဲ့ကြောင့်
Nisha.
တစ်လိုက်တာသိရတစ်လိုက်တာတစ်တင်တယ် Nisha အဲ့မျိုးတစ်တင်တယ် Century ကုန်သွားပြီလေ Jane နဲ့မင်းမြင်နေရတယ်လေ Black Hole ဆန်ကင်းကိုတဲဆွဲတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ Mickey
And
ကောင်းတယ်ကွာ Black Hole
get the kill here
Okay,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
Sand King.
TP တဲထောက်တယ်
And
ခေါင်း
then
ခောက်
at
မယ်
the end of that
မရဘူး
PK,
Okay
he had TP out.
ဘောက်စီကိုထားခဲ့ဘောက်စီကိုထားခဲ့ Save like ဘောက်စီကိုထားခဲ့ထားခဲ့လိုက်
Used.
ထားခဲ့လိုက်ကောင်းတယ် shot နဲ့ဆိုတိတ်တဲ့ beast က spare immunity ပါတယ် ထားခဲ့လိုက် Okay
That'll be 2 dead on the side of Liquid.
Going in, Black Hole committed to get a kill on
Okay.
King, but they didn't lose the gem.
ရပြီဗောနော် Mickey အနေနဲ့ Revenant Bro ရပြီSkitter နည်းလေးဖြည့်ရှင်းလို့ရပြီဗောနော်
Holding it for a long time.
အာဘာများတဲ့ကောင်တွေကိုမကြစ်တယ်မင်းနဲ့ထူဟာရော Lucian ထပ်ပေးရပြန်ပြီလားကွာဒီပဲ
Going into Shiva's guard. This is the second Shiva's. One is on. It's not about reducing the healing because there's no healing whatsoever on side of Liquid. It's more about providing vision and getting the jump on target. Also slowing them down. Falcons one more time. We'll go for Roche. Using the opportunity. Last time it was Liquid who killed the Tormentor. Now they got 2 good kills and they're going to transition that into Roshan one more time. Skeeter.
ပြောမကောင်းနော် Aegis ကိုနှစ်ခုစလိုက်ပေးလိုက်ပြောမကောင်း Skitter ဟိုပါရပါ fly မှာရပါ
Aegis now, and we'll see if this
ဟာရော
is the
ပိုက်နေ
Roche
တော်တော်
pushing
ခက်လာပြီ
high ground.
You see the number on top of your
တော့
screen?
utility အနေနဲ့တော့ share ပဲ supporter တွေသွားပြီးတာအော် offering ကလည်း sneaking ရှိမှာပါတယ် dominator ဟိုဟာ bike ကလည်း crit ရှိမှာပါတယ်
It does. To me,
Not for Falcons. I think they also got to give respect. You can't just go in. They don't.
ရုံးမ
have
ပြ
the
တော့ဘူး
heroes
လား
to
ခဏမ
hit
ပြီး
the
သေးလို့
buildings. If you
When
commit
do
to
they be there
meta
though?
and then you die once, you respawn in melee form, not where you want to be. Got to give respect to tossbacks, black hole as well, chip damage, even Wheel of Wonder. So they will continue to farm up. I mean, we have to buckle up. This is going to be a longer game. It's been already 38 minutes, but this game is going to be a bit of a longer one because Falcons, they are the ones controlling the map.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want to go for the high ground, so they're looking for a pick off. Maybe
Okay,
try to go for
let's
a
go.
poke, get a buyback out of it.
so settle it.
Yeah,
Buckle up. All right.
get yourself comfortable.
All right.
As expected.
No ပြမယ်
knowing
ကြည့်မလား
these
no
two
no
teams,
no
This
no
is
no
how
no no no
Falcons love to play. Team Liquid. They can close out the games early, but they're also very familiar choking enemies out and then going for that one high ground push. Okay, on his tiny, seeing butterfly, he needs to have MKB. He needs to be able, because when you have MKB and Revenant,
Nisha, what the fuck are you up giving Nisha?
same spot. Amar catching Nisha. Is this a replay?
I was just about to say, this is same exact dead spot.
He's gonna tip him or use a voice line. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with neither because they're fighting.
Black hole, that's why they BKB နဲ့ global silent မှာတခါလေးပေးထားဆိုမှလည်း marine ကတော်တော်မာနေနော် who the for you what the for who you one hour ပြန်ပေးထားဆိုမှမရောက်ရ black hole လည်းပေးတယ် BKB ရော global silent အကုန်ပေးလိုက်ပြီတာကြီးတို့ရာတော့လီးလုံးနေရလားကွာ ကောင်းတယ် spotlight ကကောင်းတယ်အဲ့ harpoon toss ကောင်းတယ်ဟိုးနောက်ရောက်သွားပြီကျော် malefice ထိန်း the beast Skidai agent ကိုချဖို့ကြိုးစားနေအဲ့ Skidai က fly မပိုင်အဲ့မှာ agent ကကြာသွားပြီကွာ hurricane မရှိရယ် bait နေ Skidai bait နေ Skidai bait နေဝင်လာပြီလို့ Santa ဘာလဲမယ်ဆိုမှကို what ကောင်းလိုက်တော့ကွာ boxy အာ camper point မယ်အဲ့ဒါ camper point မယ်အဲ့ဒါ camper point မယ်အမကောင်းလိုက်တော့ကွာအမ Skidai ရဲ့ miss click တစ်ချက်ကနေပြီးတော့ camper point ရပါပြီအော်ကိုရမိကီကိုစန်နာတက်လဲတာလေကွာ boxy က SK ရတဲ့ကောက်ထည့်လိုက်တဲ့အချိန်မှာ target ပြောက်သွားပြီးတော့ဘေးနာ marine ကိုကောက်လဲလိုက်တယ်သူ့သွေးဖေက marine ရှိရောက်သွား marine တန်းသိသွားโอ้that boxy ကွာ
They make mistakes. They're only human.
ဒုံးတင်ခံရရင် BKB ကြီးရင် spare သုံးလို့ရသေးတာလေ spare သုံးလို့မရဘူးဗျာဒါပေမဲ့ BKB ကြီးလိုက်တော့ဗျာmagic resistance နဲ့တက်မယ်ဗျာသိတာနော်ပြီးတော့နောက်ပိုင်းဒုံးရှိရထွက်လာတဲ့ခေါင်းခေါက်ရင် standard တို့ဘာညာတို့မပါတော့ဘူးလေသိတာ scorch က damage တွေဒုံးရှိရထွက်လာမြန် magic damage တွေကအထိုက်လျောက်ကာသွားပြီဗျာအဲ့တော့သူ့မှာရရှာဆန်းလည်းပါတော့ဘာဖြစ်သွားလဲဆိုတော့ရရှာဆန်းကြောင့်သူ့ရဲ့ဟိုကမြင်တယ်လေဘယ်လိုပြောရမလဲဟိုရရှာဆန်းကြောင့်သူ့ရဲ့ Straight resistance အများတော့တုံးကပြတ်တာမြင်နေအဲ့တော့အဲ့ဂျားထဲမှာထပ်ဝင်လာတဲ့ damage တွေကိုကာရင်းနဲ့သူ survive ဖို့ chance ကပိုများသွားပါဗျာကောင်းလိုက်တော့ကွာ Team Liquid
Is that Liquid's way in?
We're going to be in territory where Enigma also is going to be looking to buy pressure.
ဒီဘက်မှာ Saberlight ဒုံးတင်ခံထားတဲ့ Global Silent ချင်းပဲပြန်ပေးကြဆိုမှ Saberlight အနေနဲ့ TP တဲထောက်တယ်ဗျာ TP ထောက်တယ်လွတ်သွားတယ်အိမ်တော့ရောက်သွားဆို survive ဖြစ်ပါမလားကျွန်တော်အနောက်မှာ Nisha တန်းဝင်လာရင်းနဲ့ Borrow Strike 2 man epicenter မှာပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်မှာ SK ရဲ့အထက်မှာ Mickey ကိုထည့်ပေးရဆို Mickey ပြန်ချီးတိုင်းနဲ့ပြန်ရိုက်ဖို့ကြိုးစားရင် Nisha တော်တော်လေးကိုင်းသွားတယ်ဗျာ Saberlight အနေနဲ့အိမ်မှာတေသွားရတော့ Nisha ဘာထပ်တင်တော့မတန်တော့ဘူး Mickey ပြေးမရမယ်ကျွန်တော် Avalanche Dakar TP ဆိုမဲ့ Toss ဟိုတော်သေးရောNisha တိုင်းပတ်သွားလားဒီရွာကွာ
Octarine core ready on Enigma. He's running out of slots. He needs to decide whether he wants to get a Lincoln Sphere for that Doom, whether he wants to go into Refresher and then go BKB Doom, BKB Blink Black Hole onto Doom. And speaking of Octarine core, ATF is also the one who got it.
ရွေးချယ်မှုမှန်နေရနေမှားသွားတယ် liquid Nisha ဆောက်တော်လေးလုံနေတယ်ဒီတပွဲလုံးမှာ Nisha ဆောက်တော်လေးလုံနေတယ်တိကျကြည့် spotlight ပြန်သုံးနိုင် spotlight သုံးနိုင်အတွက်ကတော့ Skidai ရဲ့mission နေရောတက်နေမှာပဲ Skidai ရှိမှာဒါပေမဲ့ Skidai နေတော့ spotlight ပြင်ကနေပဲပြစ်တယ် mega talent ကျိုးပြီးT4 တော့ရိုက်ချင်နေတာ ADF နေနဲ့ဒါပေမဲ့လည်းအပေါ်ပဲပြန်သွားတယ်ဗျာဘယ်လောက်ဟိုးတော့ပါလာမယ်ဒီမှာ bouncy ကိုခေါင်းတစ်ချက်ထပ်ခောက်တယ်ဆိုရင် bouncy နဲ့ချက်ချင်းပဲ full stand နဲ့တော့ safe ခံထားရဗျာဒါပေမဲ့အပေါ်လည်း mega ချိုးခံနေရပြီ
But this is at least 2 sets of racks. No Ember for 50 more seconds.
Nisha ရဲ့လိုအပ်ပြီဆိုရင်မင်းစောက်သုံးမကြဘူး
Illusions burn out quickly.
But the
Thanks to the
heroes
spotlight, yeah.
So that's 2 set of barracks for them. Team Liquid, they might have only 1 fight left in the tank. All the abilities are resetting on side of Falcons. Epicenter about to be ready in a couple of seconds.
Liquid, the percentages probably don't look good. Sunder that.
Yeah, I think Gabe would give them like 10%.
ဒီရခေါင်းပြုတ်ကြ
Love it, generous.
Just that 1% more is
ဒီရ
generous.
liquid လောက်တာကွာခုံဝါးနေပြုတ်ကြ ADS ဆောင်းကြွနေတာ liquid game 1ထည့်ရလားဘလို့ဟုတ်တယ် liquid ဝင်တာထည့်ရတာ game 1ကို
They back up.
ဟို
Roche
ကျွန်တော်ရေးပေးရတယ်လေ
in a minute and 30.
area ကအဲ့လိုပဲ area တုံးကကြောက်ဖို့ကောင်းတာ
Final items.
area ဒီပိုင်း performance ကျနေလို့ပြောတယ်ချက်ချင်းပြန်ကောင်းသွားရင်လီးပဲပေါ့
Anything on that list standing out to you on this inventory list?
Overwhelming Blink on MR, and I also see snaking.
Okay.
for
တလုံးမကြိုးတွေ့ညှော်
Windranger.
လေးရရှိရဟာ
It's still a long way until he can get it, but yeah, this is the item against the black hole. Overwhelming Blink is the insane. This is my favorite combination between two items in Dota. It's not Hand of Midas plus Boots of Travel. Sorry to disappoint you, it's Overwhelming Blink plus Shiva's card. It's insane amount of slow, cancelling the Blink daggers, providing vision. Gets pretty difficult to take the fight between these two.
area က level 25 ရောက်သွားပါပြီတဲ့
What do you go for? Doom break or doom mute?
don't mute
This is not
don't
even an
mute
option.
guys don't mute
So
you know
It's not
item မ
like
သုံးလို့မရတော့
memes where the guy is sweating, choosing between the red and the blue, like which button he needs to press.
I'm just wondering. Guess Amara likes it a little bit quiet. You mute everything, and then all of a sudden the cast sounds like.
What do you think that ability does? You mute your own sounds?
Muted myself for a little bit, yeah.
Nah, this is the old Doom. Can't believe that was part of the ability.
ပြောစရာစကားပျောက်ဆုံးမိကနှစ်လန်းဆိုတော့ねကျွန်တော်လေးကြမဲ့သွား
For like
မိကမပေးရသေးရင်တော့မဖြစ်နိုင်ရင်အများကြီးရှိသေးတယ်နှုတ်ကလည်းတော်တော်များနေ
in this potential high ground.
ဒီရှာတော်တော်ပျောက်နေဒီဘက်ကွာဒီရှာရ
Analog clock's sake, this 252 is never correct, but it is a short Roche spawn. According to that, if you do the math correctly, which I never do, I think that's like
Roche ပါ
30
ထပ်ပေးရမယ်
seconds,
ပုံမှန်
maybe 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give
No, it wasn't
30,
20.
35 seconds.
35 seconds. Wait, the mouse is deciding on whether I was right or not. Yeah.
စပုတ်တော့မပါဘူးဖင်းမြောင်ကြီးပဲလာတယ်
We're getting there, okay.
Anyway, it looks like there might be a fight over mid. As Mickey just kind of standing here waiting.
ဒွန်းတင်ကန်လိုက်ရပြီ BK မဖွင့်လိုက်အောင်နောက်မှာ black hole တဲဆွဲထားတယ်ဗျ skater ကိုပဲဒါပေမဲ့နောက်ကနေ damage နဲ့လုံနေတဲ့ we one top ပါတစ်ခါလေးပဲဝင်လာနေမှာကြာဖို့ပါရိုက်တယ်ဆိုမှ skater နေနဲ့လုံးဝ free ရမမိအောင် nisha BK ပဲပြန်ကြီးတိုင်းမှာ skater ကောင်ဖြတ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားဆိုမှ center ADF ကိုပဲလဲလိုက်ရင်းနဲ့ပဲ
Saberlight, Boxy, and Sadia
ပြီးသွားပြီဗောလောက်ဆိုရင်တော့
Nisha looking next. Ultra kill for this Sand King, who absolutely devastates Liquid.
Tiny bought a Blink Dagger for
GG
Blink in, play with
ခေါ်လိုက်ပြီ
but he's the one who's getting
ဒီ
doomed.
ပါကွာ
Black Hole's good, but there's no real follow-up damage, and Sankin goes pretty ham. We wanted to see what Sankin
ခေဘယ်တဲ့နိုင်မှာနော်
sort of ATOS
Game 2ပေါ့ကွာ
pick up.
ကဲအားလုံးပဲ game 2မှာပြန်တွေ့ကြမယ် တက်တာပါ
The gold strategy that they ran with Doom, with Track, it did allow them to get extra bit of a gold, and yeah, surprise with Falcons going for the high ground relatively early, closing out the games in 46 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little over their average, but overall, Falcons do in fact get that victory over Liquid in game number 1. So we're going to send it back to Rich T. Liz and hear what they have to say.
It's good. You workshop that one. We'll see what comes out. But what didn't need workshopping was the Falcon strategy. This is kind of what we've seen them do to other teams. We highlighted it at the start. But to do it to Liquid, not easy.
Yeah, no, I think they did a pretty exceptional job, right? We anticipated a bit of aggression in the early game from Liquid. You got Enigma, the Ember. Like, they're heroes that want to kind of break down the map and remind you that the draft is going to be very aggressive. But yeah, Falcons, they kind of stemmed the bleeding quite early on. They were able to neutralize a lot of that aggression. And already, just the critical thing here, Malream plus snaking this entire early game.
Yeah.
Burrow strikes epicenters, throwing in the Atos. Sure, here they are dying, but it's when you kind of fast forward, it's the constant attempts that you eventually will get the kills to kind of convert into that kind of the bigger momentum of the game that Falcons was able to control.
A fun game overall, I have to say. A couple of
Lots of
bloopers
fun.
here and there, like crazy moves. Some Sunders that didn't really go the way they should have, but in general, a fun game. So far, by the way, between these two teams, in the last 3 games, Ancient Apparition has 100% win rate.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Twice played by Liquid, once played by Falcons, but 100% pick rate in the last 3 games as well. So it just makes the game so much easier, man. And I feel like this hero is, when you're playing versus a really good team, just what you need, because it gives you just that extra oomph that you need to take down heroes, to get this extra damage and to prevent them from just healing up when they run away in the fountain, because they juke so well, they move around the map, they help each other so well that they always find a way to escape, but not against Frostblast.
But also here in the tail end of these highlights, like the way that Amar was playing on his Doom, right? Like he was identifying the key targets to jump on. He was kind of creating this kind of artificial wall where we'll deal with, you know, we're getting Black Hold on the side, but then I'll kind of force 2-3 heroes to have to disengage whilst I'm kind of zoning them. He had the Cloak Aura on the Doom as well to throw out additional resistances to his team to help with that magic damage that Liquid was trying to utilize. And yeah, I think overall, once Falcons was able to play the first 15 minutes, you know, survive what we expected Liquid to maybe be a little bit stronger in, yeah, they were just playing the map really nicely, and yeah, very, very scary. And already from here, we're probably going to look at Malrine, but I just loved his itemization. Again, they mentioned it in the cast, but I'm going to harp on it again. But he goes, he had Atos. He doesn't have it here, but I promise you, he did have it in the game. And yeah, the Atos was so critical for the early fight. If you don't lock down the Ember, be it with the Doom, maybe with the Sanking Bar Strike Atos, you're not going to kill him off. You had to get the kill on this Ember.
It was a really good item. At the same time, it made me feel, when it was purchased, that their draft was missing something, and that was obvious. It was missing some follow-up with the Sand King, some follow-up control. But sometimes, if you are missing that follow-up in your heroes, you can grab an item that helps you.
Yeah, you take it into your own hands.
Exactly. So it did help out, definitely.
Yeah, and I think this is also maybe one of the reasons why we're seeing kind of Silencer not have the best win rates at the moment, is if you don't get kills during Global, you kind of fall off as a little bit as a hero. Like we're seeing a lot of the other supports in the meta have kind of ways to play out multiple fights. But for Silencer, if you don't win the big fight, you kind of fall victim to, do I have a Solar Crest, do I have a Force or a Glimmer? But like a Ringmaster, you've got Escape Actor. Jakiro, you have Ice Puffer. AA, you have Ice Light. You have so many things to do. But for Silencer, not so much. And I think Liquid wasn't able to take multiple fights here.
Yeah, it was oriented in this black hole plus global, and let's get these fights going our way immediately. Meanwhile, on the other side, you can reset, you can bait them in, and then strike back with the Sand King.
Now, you did allude to it. We said there were some dodgy Sunders in the game. I think we've got a clip.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I actually did say to the production, I don't know if I really want to show it after I asked for it, but it's fine. We'll watch it again. It does happen in the heat of the battle. You know, Skidder, he's hugging the high ground. He's invisible. He's like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to go for a Sunder. And he steps up. He sees the enemy. There's a Burrow Strike, but with the Escape Act, he misclicks and he hits his Sand King. But I think the good thing here is a team like Falcons, the caliber of Falcons, they can make mistakes too. It happens to everyone. But they kept persevering. They kept trying. Malrine didn't report his Terrorblade and just give up. You know, but no, it's fun.
Right.
It's fun to see the pros just make some of these like good little blunders.
It can happen to the best of us.
Yeah, we see a lot of old chat. I wonder if they type to each other or anything like within the game. Well, they can communicate as well, but maybe a casual.
Oh, we have a listen in.
LOL.
Oh, it's Malrine, and we can't show it. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, listen, none of that matters. They obviously did win. They're ahead in the series. We're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if Liquid can equalize. We'll see you in a moment.
The new breakthrough, an innovative phone with 1xBet app. With 1xBet app, you can register and start betting in just one click. Intuitive interface and thousands of sports events every day. User-friendly app. Big wins, fast payouts.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists. Backing your every move.
It's time for another round of Climb the Ranks. I am here with Insania from Team Liquid. Insania, I'm going to be asking you a bunch of Dota 2 general knowledge questions. Now, if you get one right, you'll climb up the ranks, going up from Herald all the way to Immortal. If you get one wrong, you'll be knocked down. So how's your confidence levels coming into this?
Sky high, as always.
Good, glad to hear it. I don't believe you. Alrighty, let's start off then with our very first question. This will be the Herald level questions, so should be nice and easy. Let's have a look. Which of these heroes does not use a sword?
I can't call a friend.
You cannot call a friend, no.
All right, then I'm going to gamble on this one and go with Io. Option C.
Bold guess. Let's see if it's correct. And it is, of course, Io, the little ball of light. Let's move on to our next question, our Guardian level question. How many charges does the Tango come with?
So is it like a specific year? Is this like a trick question or?
No trick question here.
Okay, then I believe it's B.
It's a Guardian level question. Nice and easy, and yeah, you're absolutely right. It is B. All right, let's make things a little bit harder now, moving into the Crusader level question. What does Undying's Rotten Mitts facet do?
It spawns a zombie on attack. Option A.
It is indeed a spawner zombie on attack, climbing the ranks, once again flying through the early stages. The questions do get harder though as we go.
Oh no.
Let's move on to our next question. Which hero has a description, drains enemy life to heal themselves?
So this is like what the tooltip in Dota says.
Yeah. So you know
because you know those are really good because they're very accurate and never wrong.
Yeah,
so I pay a lot of attention to what they say.
Yeah, the pros tend to pay a very close attention to these.
Yeah. I mean, it's Pugna or Death Prophet, since it drains enemy life to heal themselves.
Yeah.
Let's go Death Prophet.
You going Death Prophet?
Sure.
All right, let's see. Is Death Prophet the correct answer or is it Pugna? I'm afraid it is Pugna.
That is unlucky.
Pretty tricky question there. Let's move on to the next one though. I think you're going to hate this one. The most expensive item in Dota 2 is currently valued at around $250,000 due to a bug making it a one of a kind. But what is the name of this item?
I have no clue. And I feel like there's no way anyone's paying $250,000 for a Dota item. So let's go with the Legacy of War Dog.
Close, but not quite there. It is in fact the Platinum Baby Roshan. Yeah.
Unlucky.
All right, let's move on to the next question here in Climb the Ranks. We have dropped down a little bit, but let's see if we can recover. What does the Fervorish neutral item enchantment provide?
Like, who reads this? These things are like so irrelevant to be like, I swear to God, if you went to Herald players and you asked, they would know this better because I'm sure they spend like 15 minutes per game just like reading what it actually says on your screen. I have no fucking
That's true.
I have no clue.
No, you just look at the stuff. What do you think? Fervorish, is it base attack speed and incoming damage, or is it cooldown reduction and mana cost increase?
Yeah, speed bonus spell amp. I mean, it's one of the, I think it's a spellcasting item or spellcasting one. But I don't know if it's, let's just go option A.
Option A?
Sure.
Speed and bonus?
Sure,
right.
Spell amplification. Let's go.
I'm afraid the answer is C, cooldown reduction and mana cost
Unlucky.
lost increase.
We're
Unlucky. Back. All right.
We are so back.
All right, let's go. We can recover. I believe in you, Insania. We can recover. Let's get into the next question. Which spell has the longest range?
Option B.
Straight in.
Lock it in.
Lock
Send
it in. Mirana's Sacred Arrow. Let's have a look. Absolutely correct. Absolutely
Let's
correct
go.
indeed. Yeah. All right. Time for one last question. The hardest question of the bunch. Let's see if we can get this one right. Roshan's passive, Strength for the Immortal, gives him bonuses that scale over time. But what stat does it not boost?
So let's go with option A. Health regen.
All right. You don't think that Roshan gets health regen over time. Let's take a look and see if you are correct. And you are. Absolutely correct. Yeah, Roshan does not get any more health regen over time. So, gets armor, gets max health, and that's going to do it. So, Insania, on this quiz, you got up to the Crusader level. How do you feel?
I feel like I try to play this game as if it was a Team Liquid game. We started off really strong, had a little bit of a dip in the mid game, but then climbed back towards the end.
Beautiful stuff. Excellent analogy. Insania, thank you very much for coming to join me on Climb the Rank, and best of luck at the event.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome back. The series is underway. Falcons are in the lead, but of course they are taking on Team Liquid. Anything is possible, guys. So what have we got coming up?
Well, the last time these two matched, it was a 2-0. It wasn't a full series, but it went the other direction. So maybe we have revenge coming up from Team Falcons.
think Liquid need to try and find a way for the target on Nisha's back to disappear or to kind of hide him a little bit, because in this game he finishes it 4-9 and 11, right? Amar on the Doom, always want to go for him. Same thing for Maureen. They see Ember for a second, boom, they're going straight for him. I think trying to kind of enable Nisha through having other heroes to step up, kind of soak up the initiation to then take the fight might be a better option. With the draft they had, Silencer, backline hero, Ringmaster, backline hero, Enigma, somewhat backline hero, you need information to then initiate. So maybe a hero change could help there, specifically just because they had such beautiful catch for the Ember Spirit.
Ember is really good hero at creating chaos, though, right? At the same time, jumping in, jumping out, creating chaos, giving that info. Usually he's the one utilized, but yeah, maybe that's an option, right? Like you get a position 4 that is in there, gives vision, maybe goes in first. At least makes his life a little bit easier, because like you said, there's definitely a mark on his back. Even the itemization from the Sand King, they didn't have too much catch, but he gets the ATOS, makes it even worse.
But less about maybe what Liquid's picked. They banned out Jakiro and Gyrocopter in the second phase. They didn't ban the Ancient Apparition. If Snake King's playing Jakiro in this game and not the AA, there's plenty of times that Ember's going to be able to Remnant away. Ooh, I got Ice Pathed, who cares? There's no big explosive damage over time. Ember can disengage. So maybe they just changed the bans. I think a lot of respect is going towards Jakiro, but the fact that AA was a second phase pick and integral to Falcon's ability to win this game is maybe the bigger picture here for Liquid.
Looking at the other series and the other games that these two teams have matched, Jakiro actually took priority over AA in some of those games. It was picked when AA was even not considered, not even banned. So, but that's before the last series that obviously Liquid have won 2-0 with the Ancient Apparition. So I wouldn't mind seeing it maybe snatched by Liquid or banned out at all. Like if Team Liquid wants to do that, like definitely a hero that perhaps isn't as strong in the laning stage as Jakiro, but does way more later on through the game.
And you can see Amar there, talkative as always.
Yeah, he's probably deciding what he wants to do for the next game. Of course, they did win the game quite nicely, but I think for Falcons, winning in that style, they know in the back of their minds that if they don't get that pick off on Nisha, if they don't find that way to threaten him, this could have just been a Liquid, stomp. We don't get to scale, we don't get to play. So I think they're just being very respectful after a win like that, and they're just ensuring they don't get too carried away. Because even when Liquid loses a game, they very quickly identify the mistakes.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. I think there is a different swagger to Falcon's demeanor in 2025 than there was in 2024. Obviously, still looking for that first trophy win. They've been humbled a little bit. I love what Crit said in the interview. They were just better teams than us right now. And,
also, wasn't there another beast? Am I remembering it correctly? I swear there was an interview where Falcons also said that in previous years, just no one else was actually good.
Yes, correct, yeah.
So I think, they are just very respectful in the sense that teams are now good, so they can't have that, even if we play bad, we'll win mentality. Like, they do need to respect everyone.
Not always an outlook you've associated with Falcons historically, but
sure,
losing will change your perspective.
Yeah, it does help. Especially when they formed as well. It's like they form and then they dominate the region, they dominate everything. I think they can't dominate forever.
Yeah, I know they have a lot of haters, but hot take, I think this is still good for the scene to have a team that's a little bit spicy,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially in Dota. I know you come from different regions and different places with different talent and different people, but...
look, I'll say something stunning and brave for you. This is what the problem with the Dota community is the baked-in hypocrisy. You'll criticize Falcons for being spicy. I'm in those pubs too, guys. Like, I know what you're all saying. How dare you judge a team for a bit of all chat? So I'm just putting that out there.
And maybe there's a difference between the competitive scene and our good old pubs, but
exactly.
I sort of agree.
They're the ones doing the judgment, the worst people.
I think we just need to focus on the future, guys. I think that we are one patch away from new mechanics to come into play. We've had tips for a long time. We've had voice lines. There's going to be some new way to interact with your allies or enemies to influence a TI.
A button and you just DDoS your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have that. That did luckily get patched out.
Yeah, true, actually, yeah.
Oh, that's just Dawnbreakers innate.
They should just power up the tips, like the screen shake that everyone has disabled when you tip him, like the screen shakes as well.
Yeah,
First you want
get a
new
jump
Dota
scare.
maps, now you... Oh, God. You're cooking today.
I like Lizard, the game designer.
Add some spicy stuff.
Anyway, over on the draft, we got a Tiny, we got a DK.
And we have a ban. That last ban right there. We will not be seeing the fridge in this game at least. So the first time we're not seeing an AA in the last 3 games. It's still contested, of course, but in the last 3 games of these 2 teams, that is.
Yeah, for Falcons, they will be able to replicate what they did in the previous game with the Sand King, but with the DK. Malreen's been playing the DK more often from the mid lane. We're not in that kind of era of Skitter wanting to carry, at least. And yeah, high tempo, Blink Dagger, join a support, get a kill. If the game gets difficult, you know those 2 heroes, whatever the support will be, will hunt the map. Be it Hoodwink, be it Muerta.
I know that they're a really good DK team, and there are teams that make DK work from the mid lane, but I'm a huge hater. Like when it comes to the DK, yeah.
Oh.
Like when it comes to the DK, ever since the changes, I feel like this hero has done a lot better from the safe lane, specifically with certain item builds that allow him to scale. When you're playing in mid with that Dragonlance, Mage Slayer-esque, with the Blink Dagger build, you're building and building and building up for this situation where inevitably you feel very weak. And from all the teams that I have seen, I feel like some Eastern Europeans on the mid lane make him work, but they make him work from the mid lane by going that greedy route still. Like you still go for, like GPK does it really nicely. You play it mid, but you still greed the hell out so that eventually in the mid game you scale. Because if you get to all of these little pick-off oriented items, I feel like the hero just doesn't do what he's naturally supposed to be doing later on in the game. Of course, you do bring to the table the playmaking aspect, but so does an Ember or any other spirit, and he also does so much more because the item build is natural.
You can't disregard the corrosive from Facet on mid lane. Like with Blink and Mage Slayer, you're tanky, you're progressing the map.
I don't mind the Facet. Like you can keep the Facet.
Sure.
I'm fine with it. You don't have to switch that up. It's just the item build that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Sure. I mean, you can very easily buy cheap items, but I think the way Malreen's been playing it, he's looking at SMY, BKB, Daedalus. Like he's kind of doing what Lizard is mentioning.
Ooh. Bless you.
I have no idea if that got
allergic
on camera.
to Cottle.
Yeah, I'm just it's
and 2 quick
filthy.
picks as well, by the way.
You know what? Lizard keeps yapping about what he wants in patch changes, inventing things that'll never happen. I'm going to invent another thing as well.
Okay.
Let's just delete recall. Thoughts?
Listen, I've got to say, conceptually...
oh, wait, okay. Sorry, let me add to that.
Okay.
We don't need to delete it. Let's delete the charges from the shard. 1 recall,
okay.
That's fine. You know what? I'm happy with 1. I like teleporting a hero from, A to B. That's decent. That's
I was
nice.
kind of all right with deleting it. I think conceptually it doesn't really fit what Keeper of the Light is and who he's meant to be and who he's been historically.
We're diving a little bit deeper.
Historically?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if we're going to speak about Kotl historically, Keeper of the Kotl should get his mana leak back.
Yeah, there we go.
Correct.
Yep. No, I actually I do miss that spell.
Yes.
As a support player, I do miss the spell.
This is the support players union right
Some
here.
off lane right now in chat's like,
Yeah.
fuck, get away from no, but I miss mana.
I absolutely enjoy all the toxic stuff that was deleted from Dota through the days, through the years, like techies and the mana leak, like all these things that are absolutely obnoxious to play against. I feel like they kind of gave the game a bit more soul, but at the same time, yeah, sure, I can understand why it was removed. By the way, when it comes to recall, it gives a different strategical approach to the game. And if you don't know how to play against it, ban it or pick it.
It's just the 2 charges. But now let's think, can Liquid utilize the recall with the heroes they have right now? In the early game, yes, but running into a silencer, you'll get global. The Doom, the DK, will be very tanky. DK likes buying BKB second item. We didn't see Amar go BKB too early, but he went for SMY, Drum, BKB later. And for Liquid, they're not opting for the pick-off play, but more amp up the TB, reduce the meta cooldown, bring Tiny for a pick-off, but they're going to try and match the map play.
By the way, speaking of recall, I don't think this is even the best game for recall. I feel like in this game where you have a Tiny mid, most likely, you can go for Solar Bind.
Sure, yeah.
And versus a Dragonite, versus a Doom, that amount of spell amp actually allows the Tiny to blow them up. And then on top of that, you have all the magic damage from Ringmaster. So I would actually enjoy the Solar Bind more. even though recall as well is on a completely different level if utilized correctly.
The issue is
ဘာကြိုက်လဲတဲ့ကျွန်တော်စောင့်နေတော့မယ် last bit တွေကိုစောင့်နေတော့မယ်
reducing cooldowns and kind of buffing the health that way. So it's like if you really think you can kill the early game, solo bind will look good. If you don't think you can play on the early game, you kind of get forced to take recall just to TP onto the Terrorblade or to TP onto heroes to give them that silly little chakra buff. Yep. In regards to Liquid, they're going to be happy that right now their carry is kind of the carry of the game. Into DK, do well. Into Doom, you can stand your ground. Sure, you might not be able to stun.
Are we sure that the TB is the carry? We are, right? Like it's the position 1, 99%. There is no flex on the
They don't have last pick in the draft, and I think for Liquid, rounding out their lineup with a Mars, centers banned out, like the I just blink initiate the fight is going to be kind of the glue to keep their draft together.
And seeing Tiny is 99% mid as well with the portal, right? Like it just makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm down with that as well. On the other side, flex potential between the DK being mid or safe is probably there, but not as massive, right? Also, Dragonite as well, most likely going to be played mid.
A hero that I have been seeing more in pubs, weirdly enough, is Naga Siren. And into Terrorblade, Tiny, it fares pretty well, right? You know, the illusion battle is a classic. Naga beats the Terrorblade.
You
There's
do
no
have
real
Ringmaster though. That's maybe a problem with the spotlight.
Again, I'm not really calling that I'm expecting it to be picked, but again, I'm seeing it in top pubs, playing against it. It's not a deleted hero. I think there's a lot of heroes in Dota where it's like they don't really get buffed or nerfed, but they just live or die based on other heroes getting picked.
Yeah, Naga is like historically versus these heroes that are on the other side a really good pick.
Yeah, you just push wave, DK and Doom will keep farming up. The waves get skipped by the Naga, and then when Terrorblade wants to fight, you can just song, haha, you wasted meta, you disengage, you always get the correct Doom. I don't know, I kind of like the idea. They have last pick for Falcons. Maybe Liquid will pick a hero that could deter that potentially from the offlane.
Do we know when the last time they played Naga was?
No, mate. I can check for you if you'd like.
Yeah, I know you've got those.
I should have clicked the buttons. I just didn't do it.
He's a Naga player though, right? Like Skitter is definitely a Naga player.
2 months ago.
Okay.
But wait, hold. That was an era of. Let me double check. They beat Chimera, and it was a carry. Naga Siren. Yes. So 2 months ago. So actually relatively recent.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of games on her as well, so is absolutely an option. When it comes to other heroes that are a bit more in the meta, Gyro banned out, Monkey banned out, maybe an Ursa that's still in the pool, it can be banned out. By Liquid, Morphling as well. These Morphling perhaps not the top skitter hero though.
Yeah, especially because you have a offlane pick for Liquid into then carry for Falcons, you do create this issue where if the pick for Saberlight is maybe vulnerable in lane but perfect for the game, Falcons will get the carry pick to just punish him early on, and they do ban the Naga.
Yeah, nice call by the way. Even though it's
well
not,
spotted.
even though it wasn't picked, it was a really good call.
I'm here all week. But Lycan.
I was waiting for them to pick the Lycan in the last series, in the last game. Like, was calling for it. The Zoo looked really good in the last game. They didn't go for it. They went for the Enigma, which was kind of Zoo-esque as well of a hero. But when you look at the supports, Jakiro, Silencer, extremely slow, immobile, absolutely. And Lycan loves to feast on these kind of heroes, so does make some sense. And it also puts a wrench in their plan when it comes to certain carries. Like now you have to also adapt to the fact that you're playing into a Lycan in that lane.
It's just very scary. You see certain heroes and Lycan just can't get picked, right? Especially when the Wolves were OP a couple months ago. It was the same thing. You just see a weak support, you pick it, and you make their life a misery. And same thing will be here. It's gonna get run at.
So it will be DK safe, right? Most likely, I think.
Yep.
ရအောင်
It's quite cool because like the Falcons info is like iconic.
Liquid Drug
but also here that
Liquid Drug ကမမိုက်
because
ဘူး
they just don't really pick it up as
Like
the heroes off a little bit of favor.
ဒီ
But
shot တိုင်နေရမစိုးဒါ
I'm not
Marine ရဲ့
opposed to it.
team မှာ
You're
ဆိုတာ
gonna
ကြောက်
see
ဖို့ကောင်းတယ်
Timber versus Tiny in the mid lane. Timber will be quite annoying for the Tiny. You're gonna force Tiny to think about rotating a little bit earlier. When you think about the game, you are going to be able to put yourself in front of that Lycan, maybe protect your supports by standing near.
It's just an extremely good Timber game, really. They have to itemize for it, maybe even an Orchid on Saberlight or something like that. They need some extra catch from what they've got already. Impalement Art is kind of nice, like you get a lot of bonus damage from it against high HP heroes like Timber, but overall it looks like a really nice Timber game to just completely control the map.
I think my concern for Liquid is outside the tempo of winning lanes and running around with Meta and Shapeshift, what happens when the game becomes like a 35-minute game? You fight him on Roshan, like Lycan runs in, but who's the hero kind of connecting it? Like Nisha on the Tiny, he can avatar someone, but there's not that, you know, simple hero to continue the fight going. Like it's a lot of, like it's 1 or 2 stuns, and then a lot of heroes that need people to stun for you to do your damage. Lycan wants heroes to help him, Terribly wants heroes to help him through stunning, and there's just not enough. And
this Timber though, he did fall off a little bit recently, right? And one of the reasons was you don't necessarily have to counter him in the lane or generally in the game if you can find a way to ignore him. While he's hunting your supports, you're already dealing with everyone else on the enemy side, and then you deal with him last. Do they have the strength to do that? Maybe they do. Like, you do have this Lycan Tiny. They can reach the backlines, and if they're able to do that, maybe Timber will not be a problem.
Often we use the phrase like a team's on like a timer, but I feel like for Liquid, the timer for them is like their ability to fight. In the early game, they can fight, but as soon as you get to 30 minutes in, levels and items, their ability to team fight will soon disappear, and they're forced to kind of like skip waves and do the map. And that's like really hard to do. So I think the timer for them is how much can they set up the map in the first 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, how much they can set up the map and how much they can make this Lycan miserable in the laning stage, because I think they need to pressure him there.
All right, well, we're about to find out. We're going to see if Liquid can get back into this series, and bringing you this one is Beat Cop and La Constable.
I'm really loving this workshopping session of the names. I was thinking of some in the green room for when I throw it back to you guys, but we'll have to wait till the end of this game to hear that. And what we're seeing in this game is Timbersaw for his second pick of the tournament, lost his first game. That was Enigma Galaxy that played it up against Avalis. Didn't exactly perform all too well, but like in Timber, kind of two different heroes that we've been seeing in this
Game 2 စပြီပေးရတဲ့တက်ကတော့ Liquid 22မှာတကောင်နော် Liquid 22ကောင်ရရင်ရပြီ
Tiny plus Lycan. Maybe it comes down to Aghanim Scepter. You're biting Tiny, biting the rock.
ဖယ်ကွာလုံးဝအရင်ကဖယ်ကုန်လို့ပြန်ဆော့နေပြီ
It can become very, very good. Maybe if the game drags out post like 40 minutes, we're going to be seeing Aghanim Scepter on Saberlight. So could be something
ပြီးတော့ Tiny ကို first pick ပစ်ပြီးတော့ Mickey ပစ်တယ်မလို့နဲ့ဘိတ်လိုက်ပြီးတော့တော်တော်လေးပြန်ထွက်လာတယ်ဗောနော်ဟော sorry Nisha ပစ်ဟုတ်တယ် Mickey ပစ်လို့နဲ့ပိတ်ပြီးထွက်လာတယ် Nisha ရသွားတယ်ဗောနော်ပြီးနောက်ဆုံး last pick က Saberlight ရဲ့ Lycan ဗျ Lycan silencer ကိုဖြည့်ရှင်းဖို့အတွက်အကောင်းဆုံးနည်းလမ်းတော့ Lycan ပဲ supporter တွေဗောနော်အဲ့လိုမျိုး SK မပါဘာမပါ supporter တွေကိုဖြည့်ရှင်းဖို့တော့ Lycan ကအကောင်းဆုံးပဲ
have some of the explosive damage. I'm talking about his being in the shapeshift. Two supports didn't really like to play into summons. That's why they picked this Zoo hero from the off lane. But overall, as a whole, I do like Falcon's Wrap a little bit more because they have 3 strength cores. This is pretty much their bread and butter. Amar's going to be playing Doom one more time. And then you also have, which is a very good hero against Terrorblade. He can get the Sunder off. And then you also have Timbersaw. This is
အောက်မှာ DK နဲ့ silencer strong နဲ့နော် DK lane strong နဲ့ silencer တော်ဆိုးတယ် Saberlight lane နေလို့ရအောင်မဟုတ်တောက်လျှောက်ဒီလိုမျိုး Western Clive နေနဲ့ထိုင်ပြစ်နေတော်တော်နာတယ်ဒါကိုပြန်လုပ်ပေးဖို့ရ boss ကဘာမှတိတ်လုပ်ပေးလို့မရဘူးဒီနဲ့ heal ပေးလို့ပဲရအောင်နော် Saberlight အောက်မှာတော့ lane မကောက်ဘူးအောက်လမ်းတော့ Falcon ပဲကြိုက်တယ်အလဲမှာ Tiny နဲ့ Timbersaw နဲ့ပြစ်ဖို့ကြလိုက်မင်း Timbersaw ပို့ကြတယ်ပေါ့နော် strength core တွေ against မှာ Timbersaw အရင်ကောင်းတယ်ဒီ railing deck ကတော်တော်ဘောနော်ဆိုးရပေါ့နော်ဒီ attribute ဒီ strength တွေပါရှော့ပြီးပြင်းလို့ရတယ်အောက်မှာ Saberlight တော်တိုင်ပတ်နေဘောက်စီလည်းတိုင်ပတ်နေအောင်တိုင်ပတ်နေ
I want to see if the couriers are bringing healing salves. There is one coming out.
အဲ့တော့ region တွေတော့အများကြီးပဲလို့မဟုတ်လား body ဝတ်ထားကြောင့်တက်တည်ပြရပါတယ်ဟာကိုကြီးဝတ်ထားပါဝတ်ထားဘူးဗျမဝတ်ထားတာကိုဘလို့ဝတ်ထားကြောင့်တက်တည်ပြဟာ what the fuck မဝတ်ထားပါဘူးဆိုပေါ်မှာလဲပေါ်မှာဒေါ်နဲ့ဂျက်ကီတော့ဗျအမှန်ဂျက်ကီတော့အောက်လာရင်ပို့ပြီးဆိုးမှာလေစေပါလိုက်တော့ပေါ်မှာတော့လောကတရားဘစ်ကိုကောင်းဖဲလို့ရအောင်လို့ဟိစကောင်းနေပါနော် reflection နဲ့ဒီတိမ့်တဲ့ beast နဲ့တောင်းလို့ရမယ်ပြီးရင်နောက်ကနေတက်ကလေးပေါက်လို့ရမယ်ဒုံးတော့နည်းလေးခံရမယ်ဒီရှာဒီဘက်မှာအရင်လိုအပ်နေပြီဒီရှာgame 1မှာဟိုတော်တော်လေးကိုစိုးရဲ့ performance နဲ့ဆော့သွားဒီရှာကိုယုံလို့တဲ့ကောင်မှာဒီရှာတက်လဲသွားဒီရှာတက်လဲသွားမီကီကပါပြစ်မရတော့ပေါ်မှာတော့ liquid နဲ့ flat play ရတယ်ကျွန်တော်တစ်ဖက်မှာလည်းမီကီကိုပြန်ပေးလိုက်ရတယ် ADF ယူသွားတယ်ဗျာအဲ့တော့ flat play ရတယ်ရောကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ carry ပေးလိုက်ရတယ်ရောမကောင်းဘူးဗောနော်
like easily, I'm not gonna say easily, but run them down with this Doom. It's a lot of damage over time. They gotta be careful. And mid lane,
Marine ပြဿနာဖြစ်သွားလိမ့်မယ် liquid တော့က Marine တော်တော်ပြဿနာတက်လာမှာ
damage to kill this hero early on.
အားကြောက်ရတယ်တရား Marine ကိုဖျက်ဖို့တော့ damage လောက်ပါမလားစဉ်းစားတယ်မလောက်ဘူးနော်တရားနောက်ပိုင်း making ဝင်ပြစ်မှာပဲ damage လောက်အောင်မဟုတ်ရင်မလောက်ဘူးလို့တရား
Skeeter seems to be having no issues picking up that Lotus.
No, not at all.
Okay နီစာတာဝါရှိတော့ toss ထားတယ်ကျွန်တော် 3 throw နဲ့ live ပစ်ထားရင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် Marine တော်တော်တော့အများကြီးတော့ကြံသေးတယ် Avalanche က4 second ဆိုတော့တေတော့မတေတော့ဘူးကအောက်မှာ Silver Light ကျွန်တော် Illuminate နဲ့တော့ heal ကန်ထားရတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့လည်းတော်တော်လေးတော့ကိုင်းသွားပြီဗျာဘောက်စီသူကပြန်ကိုင်းသွားပြီဟော Sneaking ခွေးကြိုက်ခင်ရတယ်တော်တော်နာနေပြီ16ချက်ကြောင်ပြတ်ထားရမယ် Glaive တွေက
Both of them have healing staff in the bottom lane. Even Fred having great understanding how much damage
liquid
is gonna
lane စလေးတော့နည်းလေးရိုးရိုးယူရင်တော့ဖြစ်နေတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လည်းလက်စစ်တွေရောမစိုးပါဘူးကွာနော် Silver Light လည်းအောက်မှာတော်တော်နေနေဆိုပေမဲ့ fan နိုင်သေးရဲ့ဒါလေးကမစိုးဒီ White Liquid တော့ပိုတော့မကြိုက် game 1ထက်တောင်ပိုမကြိုက်
Pull something off, but the illuminate touches both heroes, not enough just yet. But Snaking needs to be careful. These wolves come in. Maybe there's an illuminate that flies through and does the damage to get the kill.
Silver Light ကသူ fan မရလိုက်ကိစ္စမရှိဘူး Bouncy ဟိုလက်စစ်တွေရအောင် secure ပေးနေပြီးရောဆိုပြီးတော့ဒီ crit တွေကိုတော့ Bouncy ကိုပေးကျွေးနေအောင်တွေ့ရတယ်ပုံမှာတော့လုံးဝ Mickey fan နေရနေရတယ် enemy များတယ်နော်တရားInsania ကလုံးဝ crit equilibrium မထိမ့်မိရနိုင်ဘူး crit မဘူးပေးနိုင်ဘူး Mickey ကဟိုးဒီ danger zone မှာတော့ fan နေရတယ် crit way နဲ့ဆိုးနေတယ် Insania ပူးပေးမှတော့လိုအပ်မယ်ပူးပေးမှတော့ရအောင်နော် Silver Light ပြေးပဲပြေးနေတာ
Right clicks needed to get the kill, and he's salving.
That's Box's healing salve.
ဒီနေ့ self တွေပါထပ်ဝယ်နေရတယ်
Remember the meta where you had as a position 5 buy healing salve because you were getting the full value.
သွား stack နေရပါစီ
One of the most miserable times as a position 5 because your carry was never happy no matter how many
No Silver Light အသေးနေနော်
you always needed to have that extra one.
And if you didn't, you got yelled at pre.
အနောက်မှာ Illuminate ထောက်ခံထားတဲ့ Sneaking တော်တော်ကိုင်းသွားပြီခွေးတွေ Sneaking တော့ like ကိုင်းတယ် Silver Light ကလည်းတစ်ဖက်ကပြေးနေရဗျာအဲ့တော့ Wolf ပြန်ကိုင်းတဲ့ Dan နဲ့တော့ Bouncy ကတော့ gear ရသွားဆိုမှ Silver Light trade လိုက်ရတယ်အဲ့တော့ Hero King နှစ်ကောင်ဆိုပေမဲ့အပေါ်လမ်းမှာကလည်း Mickey တည်ပြီးတော့ support က gear ပြန်ပေးရတာအောက်မှာလည်း Silver Light တည်ပြီး support gear ပြန်ရတာတန်ဦးရောနိုင်တွေ့လား Railing တက်ကတော်နိုင်20လောက်ထိသွားတယ်တော်နိုင်သွားပြီပေါ်မှာတိုင်းနေကြပြန်ပြီကျွန်တော် refreshing ပြန်3နာရီဆိုမှ Mickey တော်တော်လေးတော့ခိုင်းနေပြီချင်းရတဲ့မကောင်းနော်ဒါပေမဲ့ကိုလည်း key ပါလားနှစ်ကောင်တော့ရမှာမစိုးပါရင်း key ပြတ်ထွက်နေမျိုးမဟုတ်သေးဘူး Mickey power trade ပဲရှိသေးတယ်ခုမှ26ကောင်တော့စားနေတယ်မစိုးသေးတာ26ကောင်ရောအောက်မှာရှိတော့တော့ပေါ်နေဒါပေမဲ့ Bouncy သွားယူလို့ရတယ်ဒီမှာ caster တွေအများကြီးပဲတော့ team ဆော့တော့အကြိုက်ပဲ No Marine Avalanche တုံးလိုက်ပြီ Okay နီရှာရပါပြီအပေါ်မှာ Mickey တေးသွားပြီ
Basically a solo kill in the top lane. They kept him low.
Wow Rain တက်ရမ်းများနေ
But by how much?
liquid လေးနေဖြိုဖျဲတွေဖြစ်နေ sneaking မှာထက်ရောက်လာပြီအဲ့တော့ sneaking ထက်ရောက်လာပြီဆိုအောက်မှာ 1v1 ဖြစ်သွားပြီ skitter နဲ့
Basically solo kill. Wow. That's a lot of damage coming from Jakiro. One of the reasons you see this hero so much.
Yeah. And this tower is gone. There's not much you can do about it. Even snaking making a rotation. Again, very good start for Falcons in the lanes. Now, I'm looking where the damage is going to come from for Team Liquid. Two supports are not dealing that much damage. It needs to be Tiny, because Terrorblade, he's going to be in the jungle for quite some time. It needs to be rotations, like him, also the very heavy, farm-oriented hero.
Skitter back to the bottom lane, going blink deck. First item.
That's what he does. On Dragon Knight, we've seen different builds. He was going for different facets. Armlet, Mask of Madness.
Yes,
he's playing Green Dragon Knight. Everything is going to be physical and Blightstone, which is very interesting.
skitter ကတော့ decker ပဲသွားမယ် saucy လိုက်ချမယ်เนาะပုံမှန် skitter TK တွေပါဆော့ရင် decker first side တွေတော့ဒါမဆန်း
Turn those mad stones into another minus armor item.
Maybe.
တာဝန်နေကုန်ကနီရှာကောင်းပေါ်ရောက်သွားပြီ
Here for Skitter.
နီရှာပေါ်မှာမူတည်နေအများကြီးပဲနီရှာကျိုးလို့လုံးဝမရဘူးဒီဘက်နီရှာကျိုးရင်သွားပြီအပေါ်လန်းလဲတက်ပြက်နေအောင်လန်းလဲတက်ပြက်နေနီရှာပေါ်မှာရမူတည်နေ
That is tough for Liquid, and already a 2,000 net worth lead here for the side of Falcons with all these lanes going so well. Do have a pretty fast-paced lineup, I would say. They're not super dependent on items. We'll see how they use it.
Peter putting pressure, trying to force Saberlight
That's
to
full
use
on
his
that.
first shapeshift defensively.
Saberlight ထက်တည်ပြန်ပြီเนาะ shape shift တစ်ခါပဲပြောင်းလာ dragon တေးမခံအောင်လို့ကောင်းတော့ကောင်းတယ်ချစ်သွားလေးတော့ကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ဒီမှာ marine ရောက်နေတယ်
They're fine with this one. It relieves
ပြန်အောင်ချကျင်နေတာမသိဘူးမချတော့မရအောင်ပုံမှန်လေး Mickey က jungle force ခံရပြီ
deal with it with Ice Bat. Souncer is basically a
tiny fan နေ tiny fan
available. We haven't seen
နီရှာတော်တော်ရေးကြည့်ရဒီဘက်မှာနီရှာ
yet.
Hasn't needed it thus far. And Jakiro is getting a lot of farm top. Doom's kind of farming the jungle, but Crit's getting...
ဂျာကီရိုနောက2235တဲ့အပြာရောင်းတော့မှာ first side တဲနေရဲ့လို့ Oh la 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 သူရဲ့နောက save line နဲ့အောင်သွားတူတော့မယ်
I think pro players might be
ခက်တယ်
trying to troll us, where they're like, oh, Jakiro, I'm rushing Shard, and then he buys Mana Boots, Glimmer Cape. This is a hero that consumes a lot of mana, but I believe this time around he might actually commit for it. There's going to be a lot of pure damage coming out if he decides to go for it. Between him, Timbersaw as well. Let's see which neutral item he's going to be crafting. Going to be Trusty Shovel. That's going to be his mana pool.
တေးအောင်မယ်ဒုံးထက်တင်ခင်လိုက်ပြန်ပြီ
This is a dead Terrorblade. They don't even have to watch him die. Cool.
အာ Mickey လောက်ပါ Mickey တက်တစ်ခုလောက်ကြပါ Mickey တက်တစ်ခုလောက်ကြပါလောက်ပါ Mickey တော့ဖန်တီးပေးကြပါ
I don't. I just listen.
global sign နဲ့တော့မပါသေးဘူးပတေးဒီကောင်တော့ marine တော့မပါသေးဘူး Okay avalanche သုံးတယ် Take the beast သုံးတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ Nisha သူကိုယ်တိုင်လည်းတော်တော်လေးတော့ပြန်ကိုင်းသွားပြီ marine နောက်ကနေ twisted chakra တွေပြန်ပေးတာနဲ့ Nisha တော်တော်နာနေ global sign လည်းမထပ်ပေးတာဗျ illuminate နဲ့ heavy ဆိုပေမဲ့ဘေးတော့ crit ပါပြန်လာရောက်လာပြီ ice bat Bowsy ထပ်ပြီး take the beast ကိုရှောင်းတိုင်းနဲ့ chakra နဲ့ပဲ Falcon ဟာရပြီရှင်မကောင်းပြန်ဘူး
It's a very different game. From the start,
Liquid, no?
the first shapeshift has been used defensively. Tiny
ရှုံစားတော့မှာ
doesn't have enough money to buy a blink deck.
ချိန်မှာချသွား
He's very far away from it. He needs another.
ကဲမဖို့တော့တော့လိုအပ်နေပြီနော်4000ပဲရှိသေးတယ်နော် save like ကလည်းဂျိုဂျိုနီယာပဲ Mickey ဂျိုဂျိုနီယာပဲ Nisha ပါကူထပ်ပြီးတော့တည်ထားတယ်
Where's the damage? I'm just wondering where the damage is gonna come from. Your
Hello,
Terrorblade,
Jamie.
he
Save like
doesn't
Larry.
want to join. He just got doomed, so he's trying to farm up. At least they're gonna defend the tower just for slightly longer. Saberlight needs to be careful. There's the Blink Dagger reveal.
Yeah, that's the reveal. Shapeshift. Ooh. Worried about maybe him ending up in a position where he shapeshifts and immediately dies. They're gonna
Okay Mickey တော့ခေါ်တာအာ sorry Nisha တော့ခေါ်လိုက်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ skitter ကောင်ရပါမလားရပါပြီရပြီဆိုရင်သူတို့ဘက်ကအများကြီးပြပေးလိုက်ရတယ် Marine Avalanche. Okay.
They both
No,
died.
nice.
Toss on the
Not
wolf,
bad.
slowing down crit. Not exactly what you thought was going to happen here in a fight like that with how far ahead Falcons felt.
Overextended there a little bit. Good kills for Liquid. That shapeshift that was used defensively, suddenly they turn it into 2 kills and 2 pretty big kills. Saberlight should be pretty happy about this one. The item timing, when they group up together with Tiny with a Blink Dagger, maybe half another item, and then big Helm on Lycan, this is going to be the timing where they need to win a fight.
Giving a lot of favoring towards Falcons on those games.
The thing about this is Doom is getting quite a lot of farm, and if they delay this Helm on Lycan, it also means that Doom is going to be getting levels, and if he gets himself to level 15, let's see first 2 shapeshift usages are not going to be as effective. He gets to level 15, he can power his action creep. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, then you've spent all this gold for what essentially is a
free gold for Doom.
Yeah, it's just a minus for Doom. Nikkei has to be careful about where he's at. They've got the Wheel of Wonder. Nisha here with Boxy. Running away, Global Silence TP attempt, and he is out free. Global Silence was committed though. Free for some. That hit. And that is a dead silencer. You should be able to take your intelligence.
Here we go. When you kill him.
Yeah, Mallory now getting chased. They're moving around the map so effectively right now, and they are going to get
That's exactly what they need. Again, shapeshift, Tiny, paired up with Keeper of the Light, lowering the cooldown of his abilities. That's exactly what Tiny wants to have. Like, this is the perfect combination for him. Lowering the cooldown, providing with mana. I love what Box is doing. I've seen Keeper of position 4 go for the other fastest wall when you have enough magic damage. There's not Tiny does too good of an ability, but I also seen the Spirit Vessel paired up with the other facet. That's quite a lot of very good Spirit Vessel game against Timber. Chakram. I love like some of the Dota tooltips. Twisted Chakram, when you hover over it, this fast grants the ability Twisted Chakram. Congratulations, like you.
Well done.
Yeah, and then you need to click L to see what it actually does.
Boss, I came up with the description for Twisted Chakram. It was my day's work. Yeah, what's to say? The fast grants the ability Twisted Chakram. I'm out of here. I'm going to clock out for the day.
That's a bonus at the end of the year.
You did a lot of naming. You're really good at this. Gonna take some stacks. Mickey, who is struggling, he's bottom of net worth in terms of the cores. A lot of gold on this Jakira. And
he is committing to it. He's actually one component away.
He's not that far from it.
Dig. Let's see what he's gonna find. Healing spell for now. Yeah, it could have been a Kobold, could have been Bounty Rune.
If it was a Kobold, that would be my favorite. 2,000 net worth lead here for Falcons as they're just trying to extend it with maybe a fight as they smoke up his 5.
smoke လာပြီကျွန်တော်15မိနစ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီ dominant game fight ပဲ dominant ဒီဘက်မှာ save light လုပ်နေပြီပြီးသေးဘူးကျွန်တော်နည်းပြန် form out ရမယ် Nisha ရှေ့မှာ smoke break ပေးထားနေပြီကျွန်တော် shape တစ်ခါပဲပြောင်းတယ် area ကိုဖျောက်ဖို့ကြိုးစားမှာလားအနောက်မှာ crit ကောင်ကတော်တော်တိုင်ပိုက်နေ avalanche toss နဲ့ပဲ crit ကောင်တေးတော့မယ် who you want တော့တစ်ခါပဲတန်းချလိုက်မယ် skater 3တော့ကိုင်းဝိုင်းဆိုပဲတစ်ဖက်မှာလည်း Nisha တော့ရှော့ twisted chakra နေကြားမှာ Nisha တေးရမှာလားတေးသွားပြီဗျာတစ်ဖက်မှာ snake တစ်ကောင်တော့ပြင်ရဖို့ကြိုးစားရဆိုမှလည်းကျွန်တော် save light snake တစ်ကောင်တော့မရပါနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တစ်ဖက်မှာ ADF ခေါင်းချက်ခေါက်လို့ရမယ်ကျွန်တော် DK dragon ထေးတော့မရတော့ဆိုမှ insania ရဲ့ the beast တွေအောင် share ပဲ marine တောက်ချက်တော့ like ကတ်နေဆိုမှ key တော့မရသေးဘူးအဲ့တော့ marine insania ဘက်ကပါထက်လှည့်သွားပြီ
and he'll be going top with the Terror Blade and Insania able to escape this.
Somebody made the call. We should go for Tormentor instead. Yeah, they did not want to chase. Skeeter and Snaking, they're on very low HP. Snaking, he needs to be careful. The wolves are scouting them out. Insania drops a dagger.
Insania, another brain drain there. Wolves are still searching. Uh-oh. This is the life of a support against Lycan. It's not exactly fun. Nisha gonna just walk up this high ground. He's got a haste. You gotta be careful. And at the end of the day, they didn't get this Tormentor.
No, let's see if Liquid is gonna be able to take it. They have four heroes around it. Insania's gonna TP to the mid lane. With Helm, they should definitely have enough damage. They can basically do it with 2 heroes. DB. Lycan, a lot of illusions, a lot of extra physical damage. Let's see who's gonna get it. They have good shards.
Nisha blinks in. And has the avalanche, but they get the doom.
ကဲဒီဘက်မှာဟာရောသွားပြီနီရှာမှာမိသွားပြီရောက်ရဲ့ပေါစီပါတေးပြီကုန်းတေးရဟဲ့တကောင်းတော့မရလိုက်ဘူး
All 3 are dead.
They don't have enough. Like, it's very difficult for them to kill a core with the heroes that they have. If you look at the HP, Alreen, he's sitting at 2,000 HP, Dragon Knight 2.5. He did go back to Armlet, wants to have that, because he knows if he can survive long enough, he might be able to just toggle it, because the damage is not really explosive, especially if you remove Tiny out of the equation.
Let's take a look at this again.
He pops the haste, and then it gets dispelled immediately. And then he's just straight up dead.
Great macro pyre. The Aghanim's light macro pyre, where you throw Ice Path over the macro pyre.
Fake axe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has to be one of the fastest axes I've seen on Jakiro. It's going to be 18 minutes. We probably have stats on that one, so we should pull it up on screen once it gets delivered. In my book, this is when you buy it, not when it's delivered, but when you have the components. Because let's say your courier's dead, shenanigans, fastest on this hero, 15 minutes faster than the previous record.
All right, somebody beat it. Get that at 17 minutes, I'll be impressed. But the fastest Ags here. And, you know, he's pretty farmed. Coddle's kind of right there, thanks to the shard. But he's kind of catching these bottom cores. He's 3k away, but, you know, maybe he gets there. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a lot of damage. Like, your damage also turns pure, so once you get level 2 ulti, it's 152 damage per second. And you can't get out of it, which is going to be very difficult. Terrorblade, I think if he's going to be living long enough to get the Macropyre in every fight, and he should, considering that there is global silence, their damage is not really very explosive, so hard to kill him from under the zero so quickly. I could see Jakiro having super high damage at the end of the game. Might be like in top 3.
Only
Well, I'll remember that.
There was a game, I think you and me were casting it during Fisher Universe. It was Viposhka who had the highest damage at the end of the game as Jakiro with some refresher Octarine core.
Blowing up Nisha, yeah, it was the... I remember the final fight by the double
the zoning Macropyre, you can't get close.
They get that kill, but they do get an Aegis on the side of Liquid. Again, on Terror,
Sorry, go to the
transformation.
You also would see an comment. You may call you go here. Idiot don't be a baby. Idiot don't want the wet down there. How dare idiot don't want the west down there. Nisha Dana and BY. How?
Looking for a high 5, nobody to give it to.
Do we consider even Keeper of the Light a transformation hero?
Huh.
Okay, liquid လောက်ကွက်ပြောင်းနေရခုနကမှရှိသေးတယ်လောက်ပါအောင်73កောင်လောက်လိုသေးတယ်။ Okay နီရှာပြီးပြီရပြီ။ဒီမှာ workout တင်လိုက်ပြီ။မြင်သွားပြီ Avalanche Toss နဲ့နောက်ကကနေတက်ကလေးပဲထပ်ပေါက်ထားနေမှာတိတ်တဲ့ beast ကျွန်တော် illuminate နဲ့ပဲ K8 កောင်ဖြစ်သွားပြီ။ Let's go 73កောင်လိုသေးတယ်
They are all here. Gotta be careful. Maybe not expecting the numbers.
I love this pickup from Amar. He did opt to go for Crimson Guard instead. Seeing that you're playing against Lycan, TB, even right clicks from Tiny, it is very good. Not just for yourself, it's more about the team trying to protect your supports from dying instantly.
Absorb what you can, and by the way, Malrine taking that other shrine, so both shrines again going to Falcons. 3 minutes left on this Aegis. They've got everybody up again. Do they want to take the fight to Liquid? For the moment, that is not going to be the case. As Crit's finally back alive. But we'll see how they set up with this first Ags Macropire. You've got Doom available. Have Global Silence. Like, the fight definitely favors Falcons, even with this Aegis, I would say, on Terrorblade. They're going to look to get Snake King. The recall Nisha in.
Okay, do you want Snake King on time, man? Nice. Global Silence don't want it. Skid out when I so much skid out in the target, and they'll escape
with Global Silence now expended.
Skeeter, even in the previous game, he blinks in, he sees the target, he goes for it. Doesn't matter what it is, whether his allies with Sunder this time around going on an illusion. Snaking, dropping that Global Silence, he's like, I'll try to do something still, try to help out my team, but relatively good pickoffs from Liquid. They, I would even say, stole away Aegis from Falcons, considering how far ahead they are, and also getting the kills now inside of the map, slowing them down. Falcons, they want to take a real, by real, I mean fighter. They are the ones getting the jump. They are fighting underneath their vision, but haven't managed to do so in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, I really like the moves that they're making for Liquid. Boxy, if he gets that observer vision or he sees him under the creeps, he comes close. He's already recalling, gets a hero like Tiny in with a blink that can be that initiator for him.
Lotus. Lotus.
Like we saw Tiny is pretty much dead at the moment.
Minute 40ဆိုရင် deliver ရဲ့10ချက်ပဲရှိတယ်။အဲ့ဒါဘလောက်160
And they've got Nisha going in, but that's not going to work out yet. Wheel of Wonder explodes and Snake King eating some damage, but nothing too bad. No worries for where really. Escape back immediately thrown out of the box. Box is getting killed though, and now they'll buy
Crimson Guard plus Aghanim Scepter, literally taking 0 damage from these right clicks. Nisha is in.
Okay, Marine ဖြတ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားတယ်ကျွန်တော် toss မှာပြန်ထည့်ပေးတာဆိုရင် Marine အနေနဲ့အော်ရော don't မိသွားပြီလို့ body ban ထွက် body ban ထွက်လာတယ်ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်က Nisha မသေးသေးဘူးခုတည်းထိပဲအဲ့တော့ Don အနေနဲ့တောက်လျှောက် like ကပ်ပေးနေဆိုမှကောင်းပါ utility အများကြီးနေပဲမသေးသေးဘူး Nisha ကောင်းလိုက်တယ် center မှာလဲပေးလိုက်တယ် mid kill yeah ဒီဘက် liquid တောင်99လေးရှိတာပြီနော်99လေးရှိတာနော် ages တွေပါရတာနော်
Nisha running away.
စနစ်ခွဲနေစနစ်40ရအောင်မယ်ဒီများအိတ်နေချင်မှာမျိုးဆိုးမှာနေ Guys, let's go guys. ကောင်း20နော်ဟမ်ထဲတူနာဆက်လက်လဲထဲပတ်စီလဲထဲကောင်းတယ်သူကမထဲရင်သူက continue လုပ်ခွင့်မပေးဘူး
Go through all of that tankiness. He wants to pick up Revenant's Bros because they're pretty high cover heroes, and then he wants to pick up Scotty to slow them down, reduce the healing coming out from Dragonite and Timber.
Gem for the Silencer, Snake King. See those wolves, see those wards.
9កောင်မရှိသေးတယ်9កောင်မရှိသေးတယ်လိုသေးတယ်တိုင်းဒီကိုခေါ်လိုက်ပြီ Avalanche toss ကောင်းတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လိုသေးတယ်ဒုံးကြီးကစောင်းဝမ်းမြင်နေတယ်လောက်ကြပါဦးပြန်ဝင်လာပြီ Marine Club နဲ့ပြန်သုံးလိုက်တယ်ဒီမှာ Force နဲ့ပြန်စိတ်ထားတယ်ဗျဒုံးနေတယ်ဒုံးမရှိသေးဘူးအဲ့တော့ Marine တောက်လျှောက်တွေကောင်းလေးမှာတိုးလာနေတယ်ဒီမှာ Genius Scepter နှိပ်เสียရှိတယ် Ready Armor အနောက်မှာ Dragon Tail တက်ကပြောက်သွားပြီအဲ့တော့ Avalanche နဲ့ပြန်တားရတယ်ကျွန်တော် Ready Armor နှိပ်ထားရင်းနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော် Ready Armor နဲ့ဟိုးရတယ်ဗျဒီဘက်မှာလည်းကျွန်တော်ရေခဲချောင်းမီးချောင်းတွေကတော့လုံးတော့မဖြစ်သွားဘူးအဲ့တော့မတောင်စစ်ဖောင်ပြောင်းလိုက်ပြီနော်Avalanche toss ကောင်းတယ် Wheel of Fortune Wheel of Wonder ကွာဆောက်တလို့ကွာဒီမှာ Save Light တေးပြီလို့ Save Light တေးပြီ Marine မတေးသေးဘူး Marine Avalanche မိသွားပြီ Toss ပြန်ပေးထားတယ် ADF ကိုကောင်းတယ် ADF ဒုံးရတော့မယ်တိုက်လုတ်ပါအောင် Mickey ကိုကဲပါအောင် Center မရှိဘူး Hey Mickey မတေးသေးဘူးဘယ်လိုဖြစ်နေအောင် Nisha Illuminate မထိပါဘူး Avalanche Toss Mickey refreshing သုံးတယ် ADF တကောင်ရမလား Oh ကောင်းလိုက်တော့ကွာ Team Liquid toss a balance go ဟဲ့ဝေးငါလုံးဝကြက်သိန်းနေမှာထားလာပြီဟဲ့ဝေးလီးပဲပဒေဆိုင်တာကြည့်ရရင်နဲ့ဟဲ့ liquid ဆိုင်သွားပြီတွေ့လားစားကျင်လာပြီဗျာစားဗျာဟဲ့ဝေးမကီကိုတေအောင်မတတ်မနဲ့လှုပ်ပေးလိုက်တာအော်ယောဟီ liquid ပဒေဆိုင်သွားကြီးလီးပဲကြက်သိန်းတော့ထားဟေး replay ပြန်ပြ replay ပြန်ပြငါအဲ့ပဒေကြည့်ရင် replay ပြန်ပြ replay ပြန်ပြငါတခြားမကြည့်လိုက်အောင် replay where's replay what the fuck is replay ဒီချိန်မှာပြလေ replay ကိုဟေးလာပြီကိုယ်ပဒေကြည့်ကြည့်အောင်
They got a first jump. This macro part is zoning out. Insania goes in. It lasts for.
ပဒေဆိုင်တာရုပ်ကြည့်အောင် liquid ဆိုင်သွားစောင်းရမ်းကောင်းတယ်ကွာ
Onto Amar, but yeah, Nisha is the one.
မရင်းတေသွားတယ်အမဒီမကြည့်မကီကိုကြည့်စက်တာလည်းမရှိတော့ဘာမှမရှိတော့တေသွားပြီပေါ့ထားခဲ့ရမကြည့်စကီတာနဲ့ထားခဲ့စကီတာဟော်ဂိမ်းမဲ့ဆောင်းတုံးအောင်ငါလုံးဝနေမှာမလဲ Nisha BKBTB အော်နော်ကွာရောအဲ့ liquid ကတော့ခွေးရက်ခွေးရိုက်ခံတာလိမ့်လုံးလေးဖိနေဆောင်းတယ်
Although it's been a lead for Falcons of about 4 to 7,000.
Kaya size သွားနေရ Marine က
completely, and now this Terrorblade is top of the net worth.
Another tormentor.
ဟောင်းနေ share ပဲ game သေးသွားမယ်ကွာဒီလိုပွဲမျိုးတော့2 နဲ့မကြည့်ရင် game သေးသွားမယ်ဟဲ့လား game သွားမယ်ငါ game သေးကြည့်မယ် game သေးကြည့်မယ်ဒါဆို liquid
Movement speed instead. Even though he was moving at the speed of light anyway, if you look at his enchantment,
ကြည့်အောင်အဲ့ ADS ယူလာတဲ့ first set တွေငါသိတယ်စောက်ချိုးအဲ့ speed aura လေးကအဲ့ဒါခွက်ကင်တဲ့အကောင်လေးအကောင်ရှိကနေ movement speed ပေါင်းတယ်ပြီးတော့ Facebook နဲ့ Dran နဲ့ရရှာဆိုင်နဲ့ငါလုံးဝ score 3လိုက် movement speed ကကြောက်ဘူးလုံးတော့ကွာအော်ကောင်းဟောက်ခနဲ့
Yeah, so I mean, he could have definitely taken the other talent. Gets a solo kill, and also the shrine.
This is the big item. Malrine, he really loves to pick up Road of Atos. Picked it up after finishing Aghanim Scepter. Turned that into Gleipnir. So the AoE on his abilities are going to be increased by 75. And that's also going to be potentially a setup. Because you see the supports, they are running away. Going to be a big tool keeping them inside of the macro pyre.
Meanwhile, the Lycan has picked up that Ag, so has that wolf bite.
ဒီပွဲက bouncy ပဲကွာဒီပွဲတကယ် main breed က bouncy ဖြစ်နေတာပဲ liquid မှာဒီပွဲက bouncy carry နေလို့ဖြစ်နေ bouncy ရှိရင်လည်းပဒန်ဆိုင်လို့အရင် comfortable ဖြစ်တယ်
Well, I was going to give you 40% lifesteal.
အားရ save like ကအပြာရောင်းနဲ့
Would have been nice.
Okay.
You were talking about this about the team.
Okay အပြာရောင်းနဲ့ tiny ကိုအပြာရောင်းတုံးပေးလို့ရမယ်terrorist ကိုအပြာရောင်းတုံးပေးလို့ရမယ် tiny ကလည်းလုံးဝ hitter သွားတာကွာ
Although if I recall correctly
ရောလီရွယ် liquid ကတကယ်ကြက်သိန်းထားစရာကြီးကွာ ES1 ဘန်ကောင်းကလည်းအဲ့လိုမျိုးပဲဆော့သွားသေးတာလှုပ်ဆမ်းပါကြည့်မယ် Okay OV တင်လိုက်ပြီ smoke break သွားပြီ spotlight တွေပါတုံးထားတယ်နောက်မှာကျွန်တော် tiny ကိုခွေးဖောင်ပြောင်းထားပြီ BKB ပြန်ကြီးတိုင်းတယ်နောက်မှာသူ့ပြေးကြိုက်မှာလဲကျွန်တော် crit ကိုကြိုက်လေ sorry crit ကိုအစိမ်းချမ်းပြန်တုံးထားတယ်ဒီဘက်မှာ saber light တော်တော်တိုင်ပတ်သွားပြီကျွန်တော် macro bite ကြားထဲမှာပဲနောက်မှာ bouncy ပါ short တယ်ဗျာ instant sneaking နဲ့ကောင်လည်းမ trade ထားတယ်3 for 1 trade မကောင်းတော့ဘူး Nisha
Nisha though he's part mountain part wolf. They really don't understand how that works. But
what the fuck
fight overall for Falcons.
salary က25မှာရမှာတော်တော်မဲ့ပဲနေထီတယ်
You want to use that on Tiny. You do not want to use it
Don't
on
make a hang, no?
Terrorblade because he turns into melee. Imagine if he pops meta and then he's like, well, this meta doesn't actually work. So So you're
yeah bro semi final နဲ့ final ပတ်လို့ရတယ်
picking up Blink Dagger to go for these Ghost Scepters and 4 stacks. In the end, he opts to go for more damage. I think
လောပါ liquid ရ game ကြီးကြည့်အောင်လေကွာနော်
this is something that Falcons do really well. They outscale their opponents, so opted to go for more.
နေတဲ့အပြားကြီးလား
Revenant's Brooch done on him. Revenant's Brooch is well available on Terrorblade, knowing that these high armor heroes, that's one way to deal with them.
Said the last Aegis was stolen by Liquid. This second time around, Falcons, they'll have control of the pit, at least for the moment. Could throw a Wheel of Wonder in there.
Gleipnir missed.
Bailing on the pit. Osh is now up for grabs with the rest of Liquid coming over.
ကဲဒီမှာ Wolf Fight 3ပြီးသွားပြီ Wolf Bike on Nisha Roshan ပြတဲ့ပြေးဝင်လာတယ် Roshan ကိုပြေးခုတ်တယ်ဟုတ်ပါမလား Roshan ကောက်អော်လိုက်ပြီ ADM အနေနဲ့ Shiva တစ်ခါလည်းပဲ3နာပြီးသား so refreshing ပြန်လဲ3ပေးထားရင်းနဲ့ပဲဒီတစ်ခေါက်ပတ်တယ်မှာတော့ liquid အနေနဲ့ supporter တွေကအစားဆုံးရှုံးခံလို့မရတော့ဘူးဘာလို့ supporter တွေအကုန်လုံးလည်း bike တွေထွက်ထားတာNisha ရဲ့ Wolf Fight ကတော့ကုန်သွားပြီနောက်ထပ် second 30နေတော့ပြင်ရမှာဗျ
Just jumped in the tree.
I think because
ဟာရ Wolf Fight ကပြင်ရတော့မယ်ဟဲ့ငါလက်ခွန်းဟဲ့ညှို့ထားတဲ့ creep ကလည်းကူလောင်း reaction ပါတယ်ထင်တယ်အဲ့ဒါအောင်မှာ chakra တွေထိုင်ဖြည့်တယ် record တွေခေါ်တယ်အဲ့ဒါနဲ့ပဲ silver light ကပြန်ပြီး Wolf Fight ပြင်ရတော့မယ်Wolf Fight မရှိဘူးဆိုပြီးလာချကြ global sign လည်းဒုံးကတင်လိုက်ပြီး Nisha သွားပြီထင်တယ်
Didn't actually land, but it's not going to matter. The Macro Pyre does so much damage. Gleipnir now the Infernal Blade, but they have the box to leave. So Mickey, he's running away from Amar, but Amar is quite speedy, and the Sunder will send him packing.
So later,
belongs to Falcons. Down to half HP.
Loma idiot, so later.
Fire damage isn't even that great. I mean, there was 3,000 damage coming out from Doom, but yeah, I guess the reason why they also didn't go for level 15 talent on Doom is they have more than enough damage right now to deal with that creep. You don't really feel the influence of it. There's also Crimson Guard available on him. Killing Roshan. There was an attempt by the Wolves.
So like that, but they won't want to,
Saberlight holding on to the ancient frostbitten goal. A lot of bites.
Cooldown reduction from that creep is 14% right now.
Insania, who's a better on Tomia, Michio,
This move speed that he has. Love this build on Doom. No blink dagger. Provides you with vision. He was thinking about picking up pipe as his last item, but then he's like, okay, I need to have something else, something that's going to scale slightly better. He was probably afraid of Tiny blowing them up.
Gleipnir, double chakrams, 4 staff back, not committing anything more. So maybe a Macro Pyre commitment could have been enough.
Bello Jamle.
Certainly a
The Lord of Tana Janiga. Lounging, Scary Pure Mige. Niddy Dolly. Yenemani Salo Toya. Chicana go down Calibi. Liquid.
The 3 doesn't feel insurmountable by any means for Liquid to come back in. We've seen some builds go their way.
Yolin Jetty. So be. Let me show one, eh? No one of good on my Shiba did.
They still have some of damage issue.
Liquid, not yellow one. It's a bomb here. It is time in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, okay, sorry. They join yellow in it.
Both of the supports, they also have don't have any like real defensive items. You get stunned, you're gonna die. There isn't much they can do.
Aeroscary, yeah, baby. Let's go. Mickey Aeroscary. Guys, DJ Ma, Liquid now. Tell you, tell you about it. Come on, let's go. Oh, jam for me. Wait, she did a unit. Wait, Liquid now. Tell. Okay.
The supports would get run down if he does.
Oh, I share in my DJ Ma. Avalanche. Toss. Oh, here. Con. Pick me to who then is a very lay. I mean, we don't want a machine. A climb there. Chakra, twisted chakra, drawn our Avi.
Chakra magic used.
I don't feel like share another year share. Why game we play that? Why game Telegram and sorry, Telegram also. Telegram share so.
Big cooldowns for at least.
Sao cho mobile game này mà sao bảo bảo rồi cho nó phone à, gì hết sầu này luôn, cho nó phone à, cho nó sầu này bảo rồi lấy đi đâu chỉ về hoa test đi là mà mi đâu, mẹ này là cho nó nhá trên này còn là PC ship mà về phiền này, phone à tay tông luôn nhá. À tự nhiên thu lại sạc này luôn nhá, video có xem nào biểu lại phone ya tu video FP để cho là luôn phiền, cái sao rồi vậy. Mobile game nó sao lại nhá, phone cao mà bảo. Phone mà quay qua video mobile game sao vậy?
How many ninja gears? Ninja
Sneaking အရေးကြီးရယ်
3 and whisper 2.
အဝင်ကုန်ပြီလားရိုက်ကုန်ပြီ
gloves. Yeah, that's all the math I needed to do. Bloodthorn finished off for Skeeter.
အားလော့ pro လေးရတယ်အားလော့ pro ပါ
Don't end up taking the
အား
high
လော့
ground
roll
this
နဲ့
one.
ဆော့တယ်နော် roll နဲ့ဆော့တယ် off lane နဲ့ဆော့တယ်နော်အားလော့ pro လေး
It doesn't look as though they're gonna fight. They're a bit split for that. What can Liquid do to kind of pull this one back down by a bit of gold? They've got these wolves trying to get some vision for them, trying to get some information for them to make the jump. Not so easy. Though.
တယ်လီဗာရအဲ့လိုမြင်လား
They're looking for an opening, but it's tough. Even when these heroes are split.
ဟိုချက်ပြုတ်နေရောဟိုကချက်ပြုတ်တော့အဲ့ဒါလီဘုံတို့ဒီလာပို့ရလားငါလို့ရောက်မလာပို့နော်
Not finding any
ရောက်ပြီ
just
ဒီမှာ
yet
ပို့
is Saberlight going into the nullifier. Nisha, he wants a Lincoln Sphere. He finished that Revenant's Brooch.
Okay Civil Line မှာ nullifier ပါလာပြီအဲ့တော့ Jackie တို့ကိုမြန်ဆန်လေးဖြတ်လို့ရမယ်Nisha တော့ Lincoln သွားမယ်ဘာလို့ဆိုတော့အကြောင်းပြချက်ကတစ်ခုလေဒုံကတောက်လျှောက်သူ့ကိုပဲထောက်နေတာ
Not sure
Not
how
the
much
best
that's
one.
going to do.
There aren't many illusions. Miss chance. Could also
Insania Glamour Gate တွေပါမပါဘူး
They have
Glamour Gate တွေဘာလို့မထည့်ကြလဲ
a lot of lights.
ဒုံးတင်ကနေတက်ကော Glamour Gate တင်ပြီးလို့ရတယ်တာကြီးတွေ
They're tormented for liquid.
Why no Glamour တေတော့မှာပဲပေါစီရ
Gonna be short for Nisha.
Nisha ရှက်ကောင်းတယ်
With all those lights and illuminate, they really are making the map quite bright. Hasn't been enough. Falcons prefer to stay in the darkness.
Nisha Lincoln ထွက်တော့မယ် Nisha Lincoln ထွက်တော့မယ်စိုးရင်းရောင်းလိုက်တော့
They were born
စိုးရင်းရောင်းလိုက်တော့ Lincoln ရမယ်စိုးရင်းရောင်း Lincoln ရမယ်
Molded by it.
Nobody knew who I was until I put on
ဟေး
the mask.
Nisha ရဲ့အနေများရတာ
They'll move up towards top, and you gotta assume that Falcons are waiting for the next Aegis with the way that they play the game. Solidify the lead, get this Aegis.
Skida
go
အဲ့
up
တ
on
န်နဲ့
high ground with it.
Mickey ကိုရှင်းဖိုက်လို့မရအောင်အဲ့ဒီခုတော့ရှိတယ် Mickey ကိုရှင်းဖိုက်လို့မရအောင် လုံးဝမရအောင်အဲ့ဒီတန်နဲ့
They'll farm,
Mickey က free hit ရမယ်ဆိုရင်ပေါ့
but it does choke out Liquid overall. I mean, they don't have access to a lot, but what they do have access to, they're going to take advantage of. You can see both Nisha and Mickey trying to get anything out of the map. They're on the bottom side, but eventually are forced to come back.
Slow and steady. Tier 3 tower in the mid lane.
It's the tortoise.
Down to 300. 400 in the top lane. Slow and painful death. Roshan is dead and may respawn in a minute and 20
ဒီက
seconds.
ဂိမ်းတူးကြီးနေတာကွာမင်းတို့လောက်ထားမှာတစ်ခွေရ
Liquid still available on Tiny. He was thinking what he wants to buy.
Okay
Marine, not the easiest skill to get.
They shapeshift.
ADM ကြီးနော်
Nisha, he is a wolf. Blinken, toss up into the air. They go to the global silence, and Mars going to be tossed and hit at half.
Hey,
This is a great match.
Ice Bite ကြီးကကောင်းလိုက်တာကွာလုံးပါအောင် idiot ကိုတတ်ပါအောင် idiot တေတော့မယ်လေဟာရဒီမှာ Mickey ကိုကြည့်ပါအောင်
Once again, they've got that refresher on. They
ဟာလို့ idiot ကိုလည်းမရဘူးဘလို့ကြီးတော့ Nisha ကြီးကစောက်ပေါ်ကြီးလုပ်နေဒီဘွဲတစ်ပွဲလုံးမှာ Saber Line နဲ့တူတူပေါင်းပြီးတော့အော်လုံးဝခွေးတော့ကောင်ခွေးဖြစ်နေလီးပဲ Ice Bite နဲ့ Micro Bite ကိုပြားချောင်းကြားထဲမှာပြေးကင်နေတဲ့ idiot ကို Mickey ကို never ပြတ်မကြည့်ကြဘူးဒုံးတော့မလို့ပါဘူး
And Marine is dominating.
They used everything on Doom. Toss back immediately into Nullifier, removing that Crimson Guard, and immediately Amar is like, you know what? I don't want that Crimson Guard anymore. So he sells it. He has Devil's Bargain. Doesn't lose that much gold. Gets BKB. Still sitting on 5,000 gold after.
A lot to work with.
5,000 damage coming out from Jakiro in the previous fight.
Mickey ရိုက်တယ်လေကြည့်အောင် Mickey မပါသေးဘူးနော်
Him to have after getting that Aghanim Scepter. And both supports actually.
Silence Sada Refresher အောက်ပါရင် Mickey ကဒီတက်ပိုလွယ်သွားတဲ့တက်ကကြည့်အောင်လို့ Jackie တို့ကြီးကဖတ်ထားနေတာပဲလီးပဲပွဲစားတွေကဖတ်နေတာနော်
One for himself.
အေး
This would be a big kill. Probably slows down the potential Roche take if he does in fact die.
မသိ
But he armlet toggles back to healthy and back towards his team and blinks away.
Very nice ice bat from Crit. Connects onto everybody.
ခွေးကတော်တော်ဖတ်နေတာခွေးကတော်တော်ဖတ်နေတာအခုလည်းစောက်နှောက်သွားရင် Ice Bite နဲ့
I always have to check.
I'm just guessing. It looks like a minute and a half. Wolf sneaking, both checking.
ဟုတ်တယ် refresher off ပါနေတာအဲ့ refresher off နေတခါလေအဲ့ဒီနှစ်ခါချလိုက်တော့ Mickey က delay ပါစံတာလဲချိန်မိရဘာမှလုပ်လို့မရပြသွား
You're doing the same job as a wolf.
Mic problems, apparently, for Team Falcons. They're going to fix that shortly. And yeah, almost 20,000 gold lead for them.
They have mic problems.
Ready to go.
But they don't have McKay problems. All right, anyway, they on pause and 19,000 net worth lead ready to go, and they have a gem on the courier for sneaking. They'll be trying to control the positioning here around Roche. Make sure they can get this next stage. Although, again, I feel like these fights for Liquid are on the cusp of being good. They kill Amar in that last fight to start.
It's still very difficult. Like they were chasing down Terrorblade, who has won this.
ကျွန်တော်စိတ်ကိုကျွန်တော်ညာလိုက်တာဗျာကျွန်တော်က Falcon အရန်ကြိုက်တာဟိုးရင်เนี่ย
They chased him down.
fan တော့မဟုတ်ဘူးဆိုပေမဲ့အရန်ကြိုက်တာ Dota ရဲ့2ရတာပေးတဲ့အသင်းမလို့အရန်ကြိုက်တယ် ETF ကိုလည်းအရန်သဘောကျတယ်ဟာရှစ် tournament မှာလည်းကျွန်တော် Falcon ကြီးပဲလိုက်ချတာ ဒီ tournament မှာကျတော့မနေ့က Falcon နဲ့တက်လွန်တဲ့ပွဲမှာ Falcon ကတော်တော်ကြီး performance ကျနေတာတွေ့လိုက်တော့ကျွန်တော် Liquid လေးကလည်းမနေ့ကနေကမှာပွဲမှာ performance ပြလိုက်တော့ Liquid ကိုပို့ပြီးတော့ယုံလိုက်တာကွာပြီးတော့ဟိုဘာလေးဟိုကောင်းနဲ့မဟုတ်ဘဲနဲ့နီရှာနဲ့ပြန်ဆော့နေတာဆိုတော့နီရှာလေးနဲ့ဆိုတော့ပြန်ယုံလိုက်တာငါလုံးဝစောက်ရိုးပါ last page ကြီးကောက်ပစ်လိုက်တယ်စိတ်ကပြတ်သွားလိုက်ခင်ကြီးလီးတော့မှာ last page ကြီး
Like the 3 cores and
Lane lemon free တယ်ကွာ making မှာလည်းသုံးစားမရဘူး legging လည်းသုံးစားမရသေးဘူး offlane impact ကနှစ်ပွဲရှိပြီစောင်းရမ်းกว่าဟိုဘက်က ADF ကဒုံကြီးနဲ့အကောင်လုံးနေတဲ့အချိန်မှာဒီဘက်က black hole တွေကစောက်တော့လေ
So much health to have to get through.
After reductions on these 3 heroes, if you want to kill them, you need to deal like 40-50,000 damage.
Huh?
It's more than some teams
Tiny
have
over
it.
being it also.
You need that in a fight.
ပြဿနာ Jackie ကိုမတတ်နိုင်တာစောက်ပြဿနာ Silence ကိုလည်းမတတ်နိုင်ဘူးဒုံးကြီးကိုပြပြဖြတ်ပြီးတော့မပြတ်ဘူး
See if they commit for Roche. They are sticking around the pit knowing what's
Nisha
what.
idea နဲ့မှန်းခန့်နေထက်ရခန့်နေ
A bit forward.
တက်ပြန်ပြီဒီအကြီးတွေကိုပဲ Global Silence တုံးလိုက်ဘာဖြစ်သွားပြီလဲ
Valorine's going to be fine.
Global Silence သူသွားတာတောင်းနေတယ်နောက်တစ်လုံးထပ်ထွက်လာမှာ refresher on နဲ့ဝင်လာပြီဘာလုပ်ကြမလဲဒုံးတင်လာပြီတေတော်လေးကိုပြီးသွားပြီအားလုံးပဲဒီနေ့တော့ဒီလောက်ပါပဲနော်
They'll get the kill onto the Coddle. They'll take out Boxy first and look towards the back lines. Ogre Seal Totem as well. That's a double kill from Valorine. Saberlight's dead. Doom is
make it there
Terrorblade who is ticking low and ticking out. Amar getting that kill and no
ဘယ်မှာလဲ Glimmer Gate
available for Mickey.
ပြောချင် Glimmer Gate လုံးဝမထည့်ဘူး supporter တွေကဟဲ့ Glimmer Gate မှာပါတဲ့ Barrier ကဒုံးရဲ့ဟိုကပြီးတယ်ကွာနွားတွေ Oh my god ဟာလာ Liquid ကဘာကြီးလုံနေရလဲငါဘုံတော့လည်းတွေးထွက်လာပြီတက် Marine ကိုတော့ဖြတ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားရတယ်ကွာ Global Silence တော့ပိတ်တယ်ဆိုလဲလက်ခံပေးလို့မရဘူး Global Silence နှလုံးရှိတယ် refresher on နဲ့ဒီနောက်တစ်လုံးထပ်ထွက်လာမှာပေါ့ပြီးယူရတဲ့ Global Silence first set ကလည်း Global Silence ပြီးသွားရင်နောက်ထပ် Global Silence မှာ Silence လေးသေးထပ်ပါတယ်ဟာ ADF ကိုဖြတ်လိုက်ဒီတော်ဖြတ်လိုက်ဒီ DK ကိုဖြတ်လိုက်နဲ့ score 3အောင်လုံးက strength ဆိုတာဟုတ်ပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ supporter တွေရှာလေဒီကွာ
That's a lot.
အဲ့73ကောင်ကမိနစ်20တည်း73ကောင်တော့တကောင်းမတက်မလားဘူး
A little disappointed.
ဒီတောက်လျှောက်သေးတယ်ဗတဲ့တောက်လျှောက်ပုံတယ်တကောင်းမမရဘူး
Can't buy his own refresher very soon.
ကောင်း20လေးထည့်တာအဲ့ပါလေရောက်ပြီ
Timber Chain Gleipnir and the Chakram's thrown over onto the Coddle, backing him up. Nisha has a toss back, but this is a very
ကဲ Marine ကိုလုတ်ပြန်ပြီပြတ်မလားပြတ်မှာလားပြတ်လားဒီပါကွာငါလုံးဝနီရှာသေးပြန်ပြီ
They'll eat the cheese, they'll take out Nisha, they'll take out Saberlight, and 4 heroes are
ကြည့်
dead
ပါ
right
ဦး
now.
အမ Saberlight area နဲ့ညှိပြီ
Centerax will also join them in a grave.
This is equivalent of you tossing Tidehunter into your own team. Maybe this is even worse. Immediately uses that BKB.
I gambled that you lost ကောင်းလိုက်တဲ့ချက်ဝီးကွာ ADF ဗျာ
Last fight that they do have. Shakira with the refresher. It's coming.
liquid မင်းတို့ fair ကောင်အဲ့လိုစောက်ချိုးမျိုးနဲ့တွားဆောင်ရင်4တောင်မနိုင်ဘူးရအောင်
Skeeter on the high ground looking to secure
fair ကောင်အဲ့လိုစောက်ချိုးမျိုးနဲ့အဲ့လိုမျိုး fair ကောင်လိုချင်တဲ့ hero တွေ9ကောင်လုံး10 CV ပေးလိုက်တာကြောက်ယူသွားလိုက်မင်းတို့ရဲ့အကောင်းဆုံး draft ဆိုပြီးပေးလိုက်ပြီးစောက်ပြီးတော့သူတို့ကြောက် soft draft တွေပေးတယ်ဆိုတော့ဖိန်ခံလိုက်တို့အဲ့ draft နဲ့အဲ့လိုမျိုး fair ကောင်အဲ့စောက်ချိုးတွားချုံရင်ဟိုကမင်းကိုပွတ်သွားလိမ့်မယ်နော်2 စီအောင်မဟုတ်တယ်မင်းတို့3ဝက်ဆိုလဲ3 C 4 4ဝက်ဆိုလဲ4 C မှာ Game 1မှာတည်းက respect မရှိဘူး South respect ကလုံးဝမရှိဘူး
sign if you straighten it out. Didn't get megas surprisingly.
ကုန်ပြီပဲ
Not stick it on the high ground. 3 minutes left on this Aegis.
ဒီနောက်ကဒီလိုချင်းနေနေဆိုတော့ဘလုံးမကမ်းမလို့မရတော့ဘူးဒါအမှန်တရားပြောတာဘိုင်မက်တည်းလည်းကုန်ခုနထွက်လိုက်ရတယ်ကြည်ရောဝင်လာပြီအင်ဆာနီယောဖင်ဝင်ပြင်းတာအမခွေးပါလို့လေခွေးငိမ့်ညာပဲအင်ဆာနီယောကဲကြပါအောင်အနောက်မှာဘာလို့လဲနေချက်ပါတော့အော်ကောင်းတယ်နှစ်ချက်တယ်အဲ့မဲ့နှစ်ချက်ဘာလို့မှာတော့တော့မစပူလိုက်သေးကုန်ပြီခေါ်လိုက်တယ် global sign နဲ့ဖွင့်လိုက်ပြီမိကေကြည်ရောជីជីအားလုံးပဲခွန်နိုင်ပါကျွန်တော်အိမ်မက်လာမပါသေးအားလုံးပဲတက်တာပါပါပါစီးပါတော်တော်စိတ်ပြတ်သွားပြီလေကို